no titties in movies anymore, and we only see dicks. Hey, anyone notice this? Yes, I love titties. Big old titties.
Welcome back, you plebes in the chat, to the CAMELCAST with DISPARU, who was one of my first guests. I feel like it back in the day. It may have not been. I don't remember. It felt very.
I don't think so. It was a while ago by this point, though.
Yeah, and now it's almost been a year since I started this show, which is wild because it was off the cuff, a random thing, and it has worked out really well. So much so that we're up against the 229th naked snake in a row, and of course,
yeah, that makes me nervous.
Yeah,
like imagine being the one that breaks the pattern.
Yeah, that would be just so shame. There would be nothing but shame if
you get paraded through the streets.
Yeah,
shamed.
Yeah, that and we have Fat Milk, which I believe you did last time and killed it.
I did.
You were like one of the only people that has ever chugged it faster than me, I think, which was weird. So
I'm not sure about volume of milk though, because I don't have pint glasses. So
I've got my glasses are massive. It's because of Alabama. They don't give a fuck. Portion control. You go to a barbecue joint here, it's like they just put it on a giant plate and then just shrink wrap it and give it to you. And I'm like, this is like 9,000 calories, man.
I went looking for pint glasses today, and it's like, no, they don't have any. I do have pint glasses, but I'd have to wash them.
I never use pint glasses. Same.
I use pint glasses to catch spiders. That's mainly why I've got them.
Oh, that's great.
They're old Overwatch, like Overwatch merch. And they just eventually turned into... Because they're the only things that will fit the massive spiders that every year I have a war with in my house for dominance. And they'll take a room, and then I'll come in and like find them all over the... Like, take them all out and stuff, so...
I don't know what the hell's going on, because my house... I have pest control, but on my back deck, beside my pool, like under it, dude, there's the biggest spiders in the world just live there.
There's somewhere, and I don't know where it is, somewhere in the house where they breed, because you can't get in, but you're everywhere. And so I like torment Lady Gravemaster with pictures of them now and again, and she like has a go at me to stop.
Thank gosh, I'm so happy that I'm not afraid of spiders. I used to be when I was a kid, but I think everybody really was. But now being an adult, I just let them chill. There's ants. Ants are a way worse problem to me. I don't know.
They're quite easy to get rid of though. You just remove the food and they piss off.
But I have a sunroom that's just got plants. It's like everywhere, and it's like the entire room is just windows, 100% around. And the ants just love that place, man. They'll like get inside the plants, and I'll water a plant, and then they'll come out like millions of them, and it looks like the walls are moving.
No,
it's terrifying.
I'd get rid of the plants. I'd be like, no, what is it you like in here that's going? Like, are they eating the plants, or is it just like a nice nest for them or something?
They're just going in the bitch and living in it.
Oh, so it's a nest. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want an ant nest in my house. Like,
no,
I'm fine with spiders. I wouldn't be fine if like spiders crawled on me. That's my limit.
Yeah,
but if they're just on the walls and stuff, I'll leave them. I was recording a review once, and there was this massive spider was crawling along my ceiling, and then it started to crawl down the wall, and it just lost its grip and plummeted down past my camera. I'm like, oh, what? I completely lost my train of thought.
Dude, I don't mind them, but sometimes I'll be laying in bed and there'll be one on the ceiling, and I watch him run. He's just kind of strolling, and I'm thinking the closer he gets to me, I just keep an eye on him, because I'm like, if that motherfucker falls on me, I'm gonna trip balls.
I'm like, he'll come over. They start crawling down next to you. I'm like, there will be a line where if you go past it, I will get a glass. Like one crawled behind my radiator I was next to. It's like, well, as long as you stay behind there, I don't care. Out of sight, out of mind.
I'll get the paint or the pint glass. Man, I tell you, I don't have many pint glasses because all I drink's whiskey now. So I had to have all these little goofy ass things that I just put ice in and whiskey, and I just get destroyed.
I've only drank whiskey for a long time, since about lockdown, I think.
You drink whiskey, or you haven't drank whiskey?
I only drink whiskey.
Yeah.
I used to drink cider, and then I was like, well, I'd prefer to just cut out carbs because they don't really agree with me. So I just went whiskey.
Same. Yeah, all I drink is whiskey, and it's beautiful, man. It is absolutely beautiful.
It's weird. I used to, I couldn't stand it, and even when I started drinking it, I couldn't stand it. It only took me like a week to go from I can't stand this stuff to I wonder what other flavors are available.
Yeah, I drank Jack for years, and then I switched over to Woodford, and I can almost black out on Woodford and not have a hangover. But with Jack, it would give me the worst hangover. So
it's one of the main advantages. I used to get disgusting hangovers on cider, all like based around my stomach and stuff. But whiskey, it's fine. You just wake up the next day, nothing.
It's great. What a great invention. So welcome DISPARU back. We're going to talk about the Robin Hood Director X whole just giant debacle where I'm pretty surprised. Now, somebody told me like it's probably not going to get renewed or it's not going to be renewed at all. So that's probably why he's able to just go around just saying shit like and jumping on channels and stuff. I figured that whoever employed you would not let you go on channels and like talk about shit and just be crazy, right?
No, not in this case, because you know, like in Hollywood, normally it'd be like Warner Brothers or Amazon and Netflix or someone would be giving you the money. It's different because this is Canadian and it's basically subsidized by the state. Yeah. So I could get you the exact funding sources because we do know them, but it's like a group that is set up and helped by the state. Then you've got tax credits from the state. Then there's some other fund. So it's all basically, we agree with this message. We want this thing to exist. So it's not a profit. It doesn't seem like it's run for profit in that way. It's more like, we think this is a good idea. Let's make it.
What's the message? What is Robin Hood's message? Anybody that works hard for their income or their lifestyle is evil. It feels like that's the message.
Yeah, but I've got there's like a whole foundation of it because I go through periods where I think about different ideas, and the one at the moment is like, why would you want to get rid of heroes, and why are the heroes always villains? And so far, what I'm coming back with is one of the foundations of a hero, right, is that you've got a group of people. And then you've got some kind of invading or aggressive force, and it's trying to do something to those people, whether it's like conquer them or change them or convert them to their thing. And one of the aspects of a hero is they stick their heads above the parapet where no one else will, and take a load of, like, there has to be like a sacrificial nature of a hero, and you have to guard something, and something has to attack you. Now, that seems to me like if, say, you were, I don't know, Hollywood, and you wanted to convince a load of people something that they didn't believe, the last thing you would want to be doing is sending out messages of, you should stand up against all odds in the face of an attack and defend yourself. And so now I'm like, yeah, that makes sense why you don't want heroes. So you want, like, to get rid of, you want everything to be equal because you're not going to go switch from moral paradigms immediately. So you want everything to be equal. There is no hierarchy of moral values. So you end up with evil is exactly the same as good. There is no heroes or villains. And that's how you end up with a guy in Secret Invasion who is about to wipe out all of Earth, and he's bitching at me about how he's the good guy, and I'm upset at and how I'm the bad guy because I broke a promise. And these things are supposed to be equal, apparently. And so I think you get that. It's so weird in Robin Hood. The villain is all he wants. He's just a business guy. He wants to buy this tower because it's a good location and then make it better because it's a crap hole and bring in a load of people who work compared to the degenerates who live there and don't work. And it's like, that's improving the area, but I'm supposed to think he's a bad guy. And you end up with loads of people in the show where, like, this is a really good guy, and then they'll just do something really evil for no reason whatsoever that doesn't fit in the character. There was a guy who came around, and it was like, yeah, he was threatening people, but he was only threatening criminals. So I'm like, I don't really care. And then he just randomly, when he's extorting money out of people, breaks this guy's hand. I'm like, well, now he can't work and you won't get any money. That's a bit stupid. Yeah. And it's the same with the sheriff. All he wants to do is rejuvenate the area and make a load of money. And then randomly, he'll just be like, what are you doing? You doing, like, illegal experiments? Yeah, that sounds great to me. It's like, that's not in with his character. But I need him to be evil, so I make him do an evil thing.
It's like the police chief lady or the whatever the lady with orange hair. She's like talking about all this trauma she suffered and how she's all law abiding and she went through all this trauma and that's what made her want to enforce the law so people don't have to suffer like she did. And then like randomly she's like, oh yeah, and I poisoned my mother and killed her or something ridiculous. I don't even remember the scene. It's like she poisoned her mother or something. I'm like, what?
Yeah. She was oh, what was it? She was talking, and you're like, oh, this is actually great, yeah, because she was like, well, I had a really bad childhood, I was poor, they found me in a dumpster, I was moved to an orphanage, and then I was bullied by people. And you're like, oh, okay. So I can understand why you've become like a police officer who enforces the law, because all these people that were breaking the law hurt you, and now you want to protect other people. What a great character. And then she goes, by the way, I just murdered everyone and poisoned them because you can't taste rat poison in gravy. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's really strange. It's really strange. And it makes me think of how villains are never really villains in most movies. It seems like nowadays there's not just a bad guy. Like there's always got to be a motivation like that paints them as almost neutral. Like in every movie, the bad guy will have like their backstory is they went through a lot of trauma and that's how they got to this point. And I'm like, can't somebody just be bad? I just really want somebody to be bad.
No, because then there'd be heroes and villains. There'd be good and evil.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like I say, you don't want to teach people that they should stand up for themselves, because that's the worst thing. If you want to change them from something to something else, and especially as Hollywood doesn't have the same, they don't have the same morality as everybody else. They've changed recently, and this comes down to everything. Like comedy's changed. The worst thing about comedy over here, we've got the same comedians we had like 20, 30 years ago, but they're not funny anymore because. They're either not allowed to be, or they just believe in different things. And so everything's changed in that way. And it leads to an area where they don't value good and evil. They value what people are rather than what people do. And it's like, that repulses an audience because the audience doesn't agree.
It's so silly. Matthew Picard says, hey, Disparu. Started watching Gotham Knights reviews. Also Robin Hood, more like throbbing wood shit. No, I watched the first few reviews you did of Robin Hood, and everything, like the motivation behind the characters, make literally no sense to me. And you were saying it's like different culturally, like the director doesn't see it as an issue, and like quite literally the characters just rob people, and then they insinuate they might give it back to their community, but also like it's the weirdest thing. Like they just rob people and steal people and or steal things, and it's pretty much them just doing crime, and it doesn't make any sense why like they're the good guys, and then they rap about it randomly with terrible music like in every episode, and it's the strangest fucking thing.
The original Robin Hood was the taxation is too much. It's destroying our people. It's killing them because they can't afford food. Yeah. So we're going to take the taxes and give them back to the people where the taxes came from. That it wasn't the rich. The rich weren't evil. Whereas in this show, it's just people who've worked for their money and earned it. We're going to take it from them. And in the first step, they just throw a party. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to buy people a bouncy castle. It's like, well, that's not going to do them any good.
Yeah,
you're wasting it. And one of them goes, we should just buy amps with it so we can make better music. And she goes, no, we can't do that. We've got to spend it properly. He goes, okay, how about a bouncy castle? Like, no! Oh, the entire show. And I there must be some kind of cultural thing, because the whole element at the start of you've got a massive cookie jar on the side of condoms, and you're just saying to your daughters, hey, crack on, love. It doesn't matter. Just go. And he's like, I think this is a really good message. Like, he can't understand why that's funny. He can't understand. And it's the absurdity, which is like, that would never happen in my household. I would never have been taught that was a good idea. I wouldn't even come close to it.
Yeah.
And there's definitely like a separation there. It's like, this is a great message. Like, that's horrific. I would never tell my daughter that.
I feel like 99% of people think it's a terrible message. None of it really resonates or makes sense. It's very strange. And then, so the show's a nightmare, and pretty much the only thing I know about it is from your reviews where you commentate over it and watch it. And this Director X guy went on Hypnotic's channel and Mr. H Reviews channel. What was like his arguments? Did you watch those? Like, how was he defending his show?
I've not seen them, but I have heard Mr. H talk about it. I think it was on Drinker's stream where he was talking about it. And he said things like he can't understand, like he refused to even accept the possibility that someone could find that jar funny. Like it's not possible for him to think. So he thinks that I fake laugh during that. I can tell a fake laugh. Like, well, firstly, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I can tell a fake laugh. Like, if I you don't know me. That's just my laugh. Like,
Yeah.
if I think something's really, that's just how I laugh. And
Yeah.
that situation was so absurd, I laughed. And in that, especially in that first episode, and I think the third one, there are so many situations which are so bizarre that it's like parody. It's like Starship Troopers to me. Those
Yeah.
two worlds don't exist. But the way it seems is, to him, that's how he sees the world. So he can't imagine that being absurd because that's how he thinks it is. Oh, this is a great idea. This is what we should teach. Or this is how the sheriffs just treat people. You know, you'll be just standing there doing absolutely nothing and they just shoot you. It's like, what? No! That's not the world I live in. That's not a reality that exists. But it's almost like two people are watching the same thing. They're living in the same world. They just have entirely different views on it.
The police procedure in the show is completely random as well. Like, none of it makes sense. Like, they just show up and then like in the first episode, they went to the tower and then just for some reason brought out drones to go look through windows, I guess. And then the drones get knocked out of the sky and then they just leave. And I'm like, what just happened? Just like, police don't just leave. Well, we're done. Like,
they came back. They came back to that tower with like 5 more drones. And she's like, I've got 5 drones. I can do anything now. Like, why? Like, what use of the drone? They don't give you police power. I don't know. She said there is a line where she's like, someone's like, you can't. I think a solicitor walks up to her and she says something along the lines of, you can't arrest these people. And she says, if I can see you, I can arrest you. And these drones see anything? Like, what? Like, no.
Couldn't they just go like door to door? I don't know. I don't understand. It's so weird. If they're looking for suspects, couldn't they just go door to door? Which I think they eventually do. Like, they actually go in there and the girl just hides behind like a kitchen wall. And then they
had a legitimate reason, right? Because at the start, a load of people go into his private property. And so they go to the tower to arrest all of the people that are on CCTV. Yeah. So they've got like legitimate crimes that these people have committed. That's one of the problems with the show. All you see with the cops, apart from that one shooting incident, which is just absurd, they are actually prosecuting them for legitimate crimes.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if you just want the police to leave you alone, stop committing crimes.
Yeah, and it's like
I don't know what message you're sending.
The director's message is we should be able to commit crimes.
Yeah,
and that's like the only message I can really fathom from it.
And the police are really bad because they're like, I really want to stop these people committing crimes. Like, well, to be fair, I do too. You know.
If I talk to that director ex guy, it'd be hilarious because I bust out laughing when I know it seems morbid as fuck, but that scene where the lady's just standing there and she like kind of is behind the police officer and it's like the mom or whatever, and then the police officer just turns around and just shoots her point blank. Yes. I'm just like, what the? I just laughed because I'm like, what just happened? Why did you shoot her? Like,
because it's so absurd. It's so unrealistic.
Yeah, cops don't just shoot you like randomly, like because you're standing there. It's not a thing. Every situation where cops like open fire is always, when it does happen, and it's even debatable. It's like a long debate process, and it's like, is this justified? What was happening? It was almost like the message that was trying to be conveyed is this lady is black, therefore, like he shot her.
Yes.
Because that's just what police just see black people and shoot them.
Yes, I genuinely think that's the. Well, there's a lot of people like with Hollywood where you get the idea of, okay, this is how I believe the world should be, and so this is how they believe in like perception as reality. That if we just convince everyone that this is the truth, then it will become the reality. So they're pitching towards an idea, but I think he genuinely believes that this is how the world is, and that's just how police are everywhere. Like, and the strange things, like I don't have interactions with the police, but even their basic procedures aren't correct. I'm like, how much interaction have you had? Like, you should know how they handle things, and you don't. Like, they were searching the family's house, right? And they're just going through, literally just smashing things. There's a picture of a guy, he picks up a vase and just smashes it on the floor and then walks off.
Yeah.
They don't do this.
Yeah. They don't. Like, the most they'll ever do is they'll turn over a house when they're searching for something with a warrant, and they'll just like be tossing stuff. Like, they'll pull a drawer out and like sling it onto the ground and pull another drawer out because they're searching. But they won't just pick up a vase and just throw it against the wall and walk away.
Yeah. Like that entire scene is just like smashing glass. There's a woman who's picking up books and just throwing them on the ground. She's not even looking through. And the best bit was, like, obviously there's film and stuff, but the guy who actually smashes, he doesn't actually pick anything up, and you can see it, and like, okay, let's maybe do that. You are a director, you should know. But it's petty, I know, but I am a petty person.
Which episode's the one where the mom gets shot?
The first one.
It's the first episode, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
And again, like, you're not like that would come under you're fake laughing because he can't understand why that's absurd. This is what I think he genuinely doesn't know. So I have some sympathy from that regard. I think a lot of Hollywood are doing it deliberately, and they're calling people names and stuff deliberately. But I think this guy generally thinks he's under attack, and his TV show is amazing, and it's perfectly reality. And he just doesn't get why everybody thinks it's weird.
It makes it so much worse when somebody gives you criticism and you flip your shit and defend why their criticism is wrong instead of just saying okay and then moving on. Like, it makes it so much worse. This is the scene. This is my favorite thing. I only watch like your reviews of it. I don't actually watch the show itself because these are funner. And this scene right here, I literally would just bust out laughing right here.
Friends, why would he turn around and do this at his back when the threat is in front of him? His colleagues are supposed to be dealing with his back.
Put it down!
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
He just turns around and just shoots her. Just randomly just turns around and shoots her.
I don't believe you've ever left your own house. You have never.
And the reason I had to cut that is because I peaked my microphone because I laughed too much. Like, yeah, that's how bad it was. I'm like, this is the most absurd thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
She did trespass on private, your friend.
Where's the
And
shot?
we don't see what she's doing, right? So
Yeah.
she could actually be doing something legitimately threatening. We don't know. Like, maybe she's charging.
What's going on? Do you realize you gotta have a peak supposed
I
to
want-
be dealing with
I want to see the shot. I thought it was in here. I could have sworn.
No, that was the shot. Like,
Yeah.
I had to cut like to factual firing because my audio fucks up. Well, it is that is the firing the moment.
God, what a ridiculous scene that was. He just turns around and shoots her.
Yeah,
And it's
and
like
then
not
it
a
gets
big
worse,
deal.
because she's paralyzed, right? She can't move. She's in a bed, lost, completely and permanently paralyzed from the waist down. And they go, by the way, her bail has been set at $30,000 because she's a flight risk. She's
What?
paralyzed in a hospital bed. She's not going anywhere. And you're supposed to take this seriously, and you can't laugh at it because if you laugh at it, it's fake. Like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
That's why I think he genuinely believes it, because his comments are that they're so out of touch, thinking that it's fake laughing. So I don't understand anyone who's like, I know you're fake laughing. It's like, you've never met me, you've never spoke to me, you've never watched my stuff.
Yeah.
So
Why the issue? Okay, so here's a question. Let me read these super chats. I want to ask you a question because it's very pertinent. Justin Akinsola says Robin Hood is just Hood Power Rangers. Go thief, go thief Rangers. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you. Holy Ozone says never watched it, but it sounds like you're saying these people don't know what to do with money, so they spend it like idiots. Maybe they want common people to look stupid. I could be wrong, Holy Ozone. I agree. Thank you, my friend. Love you. Of course, Wicked Virtues here. How you doing? Welcome. Squid says, so what you're saying is Hollywood's trying to make all their heroes into GTA characters, but without absurd comedy. Thank you, Squid. Love you. John says, when the mom got glocked, I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. I just didn't expect it. I was just watching it, and he just turns around and just blows her away. And I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? What just happened? I'm so confused. Oh my God. And imagine the dude riding it. He's like, yeah, all right. So everybody's in there and he's got his gun. And then, mom, she like behind him. And then she says, drop it. And then he turns around and just shoots her because that's what would happen in real life. And like, it's like, what?
It gets worse than that, right? Because in the last episode, and Director X himself, I don't know whether it's bait or whether it's something he believes, but because he said it so often, even before he's talking to people, it seems like it's one of his personal go-to insults for people, and that is, you're not a real man. You're not a real man. You're just this. Typically, it's like he never got out of high school. All his insults are the same. I think it's like 2. But in the show, the guy that shoots the mum goes into the police chief's when he has an investigation. Goes to the police chief's office. She says, "I'm the one that got you out of it, so I own you." And she walks right up to him and she says, "You're not a man. You're a sad excuse for anything. I dominate you. You are mine. I will have you for the very thing." And then she just goes completely like dominatrix on him and like pulls him up and goes, "You're a weak-willed man. Now get down." And then they get off it in the middle of her office. And you're like, is this just like a kink? Like, do you like insulting people in their manlyhood because that's what you like? Because that's how it's coming across.
Wait, did they smash? You said they smashed pissers? In
the station, in her office.
Cool.
But she like completely humiliates him and starts calling him not a man, you know, I own you. A man wouldn't need you to have done this. You're not a real man. It's all the comments that he's been saying to other people. And like, is this like your thing? I don't know. Right. It's like, it seems to go up a lot. And then you bring it up in that situation.
Oh my
Each to their own.
So I had a question. And I've forgotten what it was, and it makes me sad. It was like, fuck. Oh yeah, I remember. So what does Director X say? What does he say to people that are criticizing it? Like, what does he call them anything, or is he the blame racism? What is it?
It seems to largely be bait. To try and get on your show, because he'll like insult you and then go, and so I want to come on and talk to you about it. It's like, well, I'm not going to talk to you if you're just insulting me. Like, this is the thing. It all originally started when this was like a year ago or something. When the first trailer came out, a few people make a video of it, and one of them was Az, heel versus babyface.
Yeah.
And I think he spoke to him then, but I can't say for sure. But I know recently he said they arranged to talk, and he said, but like, I wanted to watch your show before we do anything. But then they'd arranged to talk after the first episode came out, and by then he's already gone, "My show's getting review bombed by racists." It's like, well, no one's going to want to talk to you after that. You've already accused them of it. Everyone knows what the conversation is going to be at that point. So it's pointless. You've basically shown yourself to be a bad faith actor, and you're coming in, like, not for a topical discussion about anything. You've got, this is why everyone thinks this is what is happening, and therefore, there is no conversation.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, you're not going to go in and go like, well, okay, what do you think about this story point? This character arc is a bit off. It's like, no, you think you are getting review bombed by racists. And so, what is anybody else who doesn't like the show supposed to think?
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is the thing, man. And it's always the weirdest thing to me, because when Little Mermaid came out and they were like, she doesn't look like, Ariel at all. And it doesn't really fit with the lore. And everybody, of course, was labeled racist immediately from, any news outlet or any of the actors involved or producers or whatever. And when Reva, maybe, I think her name was, in Star Wars Obi-Wan, when she was like a big character, and I couldn't even finish it because I don't know why, but her acting was so terrible. She's not like a bad actress and other things she's done.
The story
before.
was terrible.
It was a nightmare. It was so bad. And then, of course, on Instagram, I think it was on Instagram, Ewan McGregor like released a statement, and everybody was basically insinuating that if you don't like her character, you're racist. And all these things happen, and it leads me to like one kind of weird like paradox. Why is it that these people legitimately think, or maybe they're just using it as an excuse or justification for their shows being terrible, but they legitimately think that people that dislike it are racist, yet movies like Blade, The Book of Eli, anything Idris Elba's in, all these, like, Keith David, all these high profile black actors, black movies that have come and gone and are considered, fantastic movies, and it's never even brought into question. Why do those same racists that don't like Little Mermaid or don't like Robin Hood, why do they like The Book of Eli? Like, what is that about?
I think it's two different questions, right? I think it's two different groups of people. Normally, my rule, but you never defend yourself because they don't care, because it's not a legitimate accusation.
Right.
The whole stuff with Reva, like the Reva story at the end was, I'm a good person. You're like, well, why are you a good person? So, well, I was going to murder this child, but I decided not to murder this child. Therefore, I've saved a child's life. Therefore, I'm a good person. Like, no, you're not moral just because You decided to not do something evil that you were going to do. You haven't saved him. It was you that, because the only reason he was in danger was you, and you attacked his parents. So,
and she's also, by the way, she also killed through her entire time being like an inquisitor or whatever the hell. She's killed probably like 1,000 people now by this point.
Yep. And her entire basis was, I'm a youngling that was getting murdered by people, and all these younglings died. So my plan after that is to join the people that killed them, and then kill more of them as revenge. Ish. Yeah. No.
It's the same. It's the exact same like plot as Scarlet Witch in that whichever freaking movie it was that she was in that she hijacked. She like, I'm just gonna kill everybody, enslave everyone, and then at the last second she decides to like kill herself, and then it's like makes her like a good guy. And I'm like, she did the bad stuff. It's not deleted. If Hitler like survived, and then he started an orphanage and was like teaching children to read like for 10 minutes after World War II, he would still be Hitler. Like he wouldn't suddenly be like, oh, this is so sweet of him, he's so nice. No, he's still the guy. He still did the atrocities. It's so silly.
That's the second time she's had that story, though. In the TV show that she did, she enslaved an entire town.
Yeah.
And there's actually a scene in it where they go, you thought that it was all fine, but we were suffering. We were in pain, constant pain.
Yeah.
And they were begging to die. It was that bad. And then at the end, she's just like, she goes away. And one of the characters, the hero, who's going to be in the next Marvel movie, they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. It's like, what? She had an entire town under control in agony, and we're supposed to feel sorry for her. And then she goes up to, in that same movie, she goes up to Doctor Strange, and she's like, I thought I know what you hear about. He's like, no, I don't care about that. I always knew you'd do the right thing. I'm sorry. Like, these people don't have any morals. Which is why when you come out and start insulting the fan base, I don't think it's legitimate. Therefore, I don't think defense, because they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they've already thrown the accusation. That's the point. And the aim is to get you on the back foot. The aim is to make you defend yourself, because all the time you're defending yourself, you look guilty. Which is why I think anything like you attack. It's like, it is literally like, no, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's the problem with you? You should be doing this. What's your problem? It's the same thing. There's no need to defend yourself from an accusation which has no weight or grounds in the first place.
Exactly.
And Ewan McGregor was like, these aren't Star Wars fans. Oh, piss off.
And you can't say, and that's a funny thing you brought up. Like, he's like, these aren't Star Wars fans. Like, how many times are they going to say this in the last 15 years to where there's none left? Like, if anyone's mad about anything, it's like, they're not real Star Wars fans. I'm like, well, there's none left because you said that about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's like Ahsoka's like so split and divided. And I watched up until Anakin showed up, and I was like, this is I'm gonna be honest, this is very lame. So I just stopped watching it, and God, I don't know if it's a Facebook thing. I have to scroll Facebook now because I don't have Twitter anymore because I got banned. And
I've not used Facebook in years.
Yeah, dude, it's awful. And I'll go to the comment sections when I see Ahsoka like article, and all the comments are like, this was the best piece of Star Wars since Empire Strikes Back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but it was so terrible. I'm so confused.
Well, the thing is, I love action movies, like John Wick movies. Some of them, just a guy goes in, beats a load of people around the face, and he leaves. But there's actually there's morals and values in that. It's just that they do it in a way where everything's done in a few glances. It's done in a very masculine way. It's all body language, and then we move on to the next thing. And I actually think you lose a lot from that at the cinema, because glances and things, you're so far away from the screen. It's awful. I'd rather watch things at home. But if you don't watch that, it's just a load of people fighting. And so you probably think it's a lot more shallow because you haven't got the values in it. That's what Ahsoka was. Ahsoka had lightsaber fights, but it was all like gravy. There was no meat to the actual movie. There was no values. There was no real story. I still don't know why Ahsoka was doing the thing she did. I don't know why she was looking for that ball in the first place. I don't know why she decided to go there. It's like, oh, we need to stop Thrawn coming. It's like, well, what are you going to do over there? How are you going to stop him? Like, you don't even know he's over there. You don't even know he's coming back. You were the one that was looking for the ball that started all this stuff. And nothing's explained. There's no moral lessons. There's no kind of heroic journey or anything. She doesn't sacrifice anything.
Yeah.
And there's a whole academic piece of what makes a good story. You've got like the hero's journey and stuff. I actually think it's just morals and values. I think it's less about the academic stripping of things and more like there has to be a hero. So he has to do something good. And that means there has to be a good in the first place. There has to be a right and a wrong. And so if you strip right and wrong because there is no hierarchy of values, you have no story and everything is awful.
Yeah.
And that's why I've reached a point where I don't think Hollywood can make good stuff until they get rid of the current people and bring in people who have the same values as the audience. Because until then, they're just going to continue to write the same things with opposite values, and I don't think audiences want it.
Well, I think it's because we've like the generation shift, and people that are writing in Hollywood grew up there and got there through nepotism, and they're just writing from their perspective of their like privileged lives, and everything they know is like Californian politics and like diversity quotas and equity and all this stuff. So they just write it into their movies or their TV shows and having zero life experience. So it's always very jarring because these things do exist. There are, allegory you could use. There are daily struggles. There are struggles between like different cultures and stuff you could probably use in a very legitimate manner to tell a great story. They've done it in the past, but it's so forced and silly. And every time you see it on screen, it feels so disingenuous because it'll be something ridiculous like the Batman movie. I think it's just called The Batman. I don't remember. It was the one with the one dude from Twilight.
Yeah, I've not seen it because I was like, the guy from Twilight doesn't seem like Batman to me, and so I don't care. And then I saw the costumes of the villain. I'm like, that looks awful. So I never went.
He seems extremely autistic in the movie, and it's funny. It's got a lot of enjoyable parts, and it evokes a really kind of a weird, like cool atmosphere, something about it. But it was a decent movie. It was a little bit too long. But there's a scene, and it almost seems like it was a reshoot that they just like glued into the movie. It's like there's this scene where Batman and like Catwoman are on this, and she's like kind of ambiguous. She looks like she's mixed or something, and they're both standing on this balcony, and they're just having a discussion back and forth, some like moral discussion. And out of nowhere, she's like, "This town is just ran by rich white privileged men." And it's like, and then like I'm like, wait, it's like the most jarring thing because it had nothing to do with anything. And he's like, and then they just continue their conversation they were having. And keep in mind, he's a rich white privileged man. And then she just starts making out with him.
I think that's in the trailer, unless she said it twice. There is a scene in the trailer where she's in, because another reason why in the street surrounded by cars, and she calls him a rich white guy who's just trying to beat up poor people or something. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, and then she makes out with him. And I'm like, wait, so are you telling me that like rich white dudes are like what you're into? Because that's great. Because I just happen to be
people, apparently.
She's like, oh, you guys are just
I hit him again.
All you do is you prey upon the marginalized groups, and it's like for some reason that makes me just want to have sex with you. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's because I'm the best. That's right. Yeah.
You said about like university. I think it is because a lot of it is the academic thing. Like, the whole I'm going to attack the fans. I think it comes from the principle. Everyone's heard it. There's no such thing as bad press, which isn't true. It's never been true. It's only true in an instance where you've actually got two sides of an argument, and so you piss off this side, and everyone else hears about it because of the drama, but they agree with you. In this, there is no one that agrees with them. But because they've been brought up in a bubble, they assume they are the masses. It's like, no, you are a very niche group of people raised in a very niche ideology, and you've actually exchanged good and evil for. It is literally, it's not what you do, it's what you are. Yeah. They've entirely changed almost human values as a whole and that kind of thing. Yeah, and you can't build a story off that. You can't just go, I've got this person, therefore you have to watch it. Yeah, I don't. I don't.
Yeah, and people push back and like negative PR. I think if you're like a startup, you're like a small business, you're a small company, you're trying to make your way, maybe it can be argued as negative press or any press is good press. But when you're already Disney and then you like for some reason let Rachel Zegler like walk around and talk freely, that's the worst press possible because no one wants to see that shit now because she just kept walking around and being violently condescending in every interview. and it was so silly. And I'm like, who does she like think she's appealing to? And the unfortunate truth is she is young, but her entire life
I don't care.
probably
Like,
she's
that means nothing to me.
it doesn't excuse her being dumb as hell. It's just she doesn't have any life experience, and she's probably assuming everyone thinks and receives how she's been talked to and received her entire life, like living where she does. Everybody's like yes men, and like saying she's great, she's perfect, she like, you know what I'm saying, and like all of her beliefs, everything is just amazing. So when she goes out and does an interview and makes an ass of herself, everybody's like around her, specifically her, is really confused as to why everybody thinks she's condescending and annoying and awful. And it's like that 99.8% of people don't think the way you do. Like no one thinks the way she does, but everybody around her probably does.
But this is how she always acted. She acted this because she's acted this way in previous movies. Was it West Side Story she did? And there she annoyed a load of Latino people because they're like, well, you say you represent us, but you're not. Was it Puerto Rican that was she was being in there? And she's like, well, I represent. It's like, you're not Puerto Rican. Why can't we get a Puerto Rican person? So then she's like, well, does it matter? Does it matter that I'm not Puerto Rican? Does it matter that I don't speak the language? Does it matter that I don't speak the food? And you get to a point where you're like, oh, what do you represent then? Like, if you're not any of the culture, how can you say you represent them? Because you're also half Polish. But at no point in an interview have I ever gone, I represent the Polish people, because that's not a career advantage. So it's never brought up.
If it was profitable, she would have said it. It'd have been the first thing she said.
If there was a Polish movie, I'm sure she'd be Polish tomorrow. You know, I've got a Polish dad or whatever, and it's great. Yeah. I couldn't think of anything Polish to insert there as a meme. But it is literally... that's why I hate it, because it all seems so fake, and it's all the legitimate version of grifting. It is, if everyone's thinking about my identity, everyone's trying to claim some kind of, well, my great-great-grandfather was an 8th this, and that means I can be that. And it's, I can't stand it. Because it's not how we work over here. Everything's done off culture. It's like, if somebody described me as white, I'd be like, what do you even mean? Because now you're grouping me up with France, Germany, Welsh, Scotland, Ireland. We're all entirely different people with entirely different cultures, backgrounds, histories, and heritages.
Man,
we don't even have the same senses of humor, let alone anything else.
Yeah, I saw a video yesterday, which is brutal. Speaking of video yesterday, I put out a video yesterday, and it was well received. So I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you check that out. And also, we are a 10th of the way to Naked Snake, and Nick Ricade is in the chat. How you doing, baby? So I saw a video yesterday, and it was this like random lady. This guy's like doing a comedy bit, like a comedy act, and he's on stage and he's getting heckled. And this lady's like, she's like, what did she say? She's like, you're a colonizer. You colonized us. And he's like, I colonized you? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm Scottish. And like, and she's like, he was like talking about how he's like, you realize how many wars have been fought over like Scotland getting their independence? Like, it was just, she sees him as a white guy.
They hate us as well. So
like, well, there's people out there that see you, which is not an American, and they're like, there's people that legitimately will see your face and just be like, oh, like he's a colonizer, he's a slaver. And it's like, he's not even in the US. Like, it's like where all that's attributed to for some weird reason, like because slavery was invented like 300 years ago, apparently. Yeah, but it's
there's interesting topics like that where I don't generally bring it up because I don't understand it. There's a lot of American cultural stuff I just don't get. Because you have sensitive topics on a thing here. It's you don't know until you make a joke, and then everyone's like, ooh, and the entire room silences. Oh, okay.
Yeah, say, oops, that was a bad one.
Well, you did not. It's like only this is the thing. Americans, because there's a lot of the stats even of Americans that don't have passports. It's way more than anywhere else in the world because you're such a massive place, and all the states are so different that you can basically just live in America, and you have a huge range of different cultures and stuff on you as it is. You don't really need to go anywhere, but it does lead to an area where it's like you begin to think that that's the entire world. And it's like no. The rest of the world all see you as one group of people as well, and they have entirely different things. But we're expected to know your culture, because kind of any laws you pass and everything affect the internet, and the internet is essentially the same for everybody, kind of thing. So We
Yeah.
have to know your culture in order to not get banned.
Yes, dude, it's wild. It reminds me of something that I wanted to talk about here in a second. Monkey Man, I love you, by the way, for your $5 super sticker. Just one Marero. Mario. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting what that is. I'm stupid. All homo for you, Cody. I love you. Appreciate you. Rosalind says people I've been offline for 8 weeks, and the comments on my channel have gone berserk. That's what happens. That was me when I started YouTube, and then it took off. I just stopped doing it for 2 weeks, and then it went nuclear, and it was weird. American Legend, how you doing, baby? So there's this voice actor. He's also like a TikTok guy. His name's like something on he's Hypnotic had a video about it. So there was this guy, and he's angry because he's getting typecast in voice casting as an Asian, which is entirely what he wanted, because he was one of the people championing like people should be playing only their race. But what he meant is white people should only be white characters, and any other race can play anybody else, but only white people should be white characters. And now he's angry because he's losing work because he's being typecast as a Asian character, and he's like, I don't even speak the language, bro. It's
Well,
like,
this is an interesting thing, because it's an idea that over the years I've had my mind changed on. Because before I've been like, yeah, anyone can be anyone, and now I'm like, no, actually, I think it makes sense. If you've got something that's British heritage, it makes sense that it's played like Brit. Like James Bond should be British.
yeah,
James Bond as American wouldn't make any sense. And so I think there are like levels, and there's times where I don't care. But overall, I think, yeah, if it's something that's going to represent a culture, then making it authentically that culture, I think there's a value to that. Like maybe Robin Hood shouldn't be Canadian. That makes sense to me. But you're supposed to accept it in some places and not others. And I'm the kind of person that, like, if there's a rule, whatever, I'll play by the rule. But I like the rule to be for everybody. I like it to be one uniform rule that everybody knows, and it's fixed, and therefore you just live your life by that kind of thing. I don't like rules where you have multiple different ones for different people. That seems off to me.
yeah.
Seems
So
untenable.
this guy right here, his name is Sung Won Cho. He says that I got an audition for a prominent cartoon where I was sent just the Asian character. Looking through the rest, I told my agent, hey, I'm happy to read for this, but can I read for some of the others? To which I was told all the characters are drawn as white, so no.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says to add extra insult to injury, the character I got sent was labeled Middle Eastern, Southeast, or Southeast Asian, because, that's all the same, right? So in the exact same, well, you can just lump them all into one. The funny thing is, it's in the same sentence previously, he complained that he's not allowed to read for white characters, and then in this sentence says that he's upset to saying all Asians from this area are the same. And it's like, so either it's basically what's happening here is he has to play by the rules that he put in place. Basically, it's he did this, like, he did this to himself. All these people did, like, all these characters, like, you should only cast an Asian, you should only do this, you should only do this. Now they're suffering the repercussions of their actions, and now they're losing work. And it's like, oh, shocking. What do you think was going to happen?
But they didn't. That was the thing. All they saw, my number one rule in Hollywood explains nearly everything, is it always self-interest. Like, everything they do is self-interest. I've never seen anyone argue for a position in Hollywood that actually would hurt them. It just doesn't happen. And I agree with them, right? I think this is an American, because generally over here we'd refer to people by nationality rather than general geographic region. And I see a lot of American articles say things like South Asian. Like, do you understand how wide a ranging of people that is that it encompasses? It's insane.
I mean, that's the same. It is the same way with people that are considered white. A person from a trailer park in Alabama, where I live, they are not the same culturally or in any way, shape, or form the same as like a white dude that lives in Russia. It's not even kind of close, or a white dude that lives in Scotland. Like, it's not even kind of similar, but they lump them all into a thing as all evil colonizers. Of course. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Halo Millennium. I appreciate you. And speaking of the devil, Nick Ricada with a $50 super chat, getting us 1/5 of the way to Naked Snake single-handedly in one hit. Damn, son, my boy, showing some love. Thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate you, dude. Hope you're doing well. Says best James Bond is Jane Bondage, a Slovenian female. Yeah, I googled that. I'm glad I didn't share my screen. It's just like Pornhub. I'm like, oh,
okay. I should have known.
Oops. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate you so much. Much love. That puts us $3.95 until Nick.
The last stream I was on with Nick, he throttled someone to death. Now, admittedly, it was D&D, but he seemed to really. I think he really enjoyed his time.
He said, "I just made it up, bro." It says.
Oh, well.
It says, I'm looking on Google and it says search results for Jane Bondage, Bound Hub, Megan Jones Bondage, Spank Bang. Is that the name of this website? Okay, it just pulled up a random bondage thing. That's what it is. I didn't read.
Lucky dip.
It's all just bondage, and one of them says Jones Bondage, and it's Bound Hub. It's all porn though. So I just read the porn. Yeah,
at least Robin Hood didn't turn up.
Yeah, Robin Hood. Oh my gosh, dude. So this is kind of old news. It's like 6 days old now. But so Rachel Zegler, she got fired obviously from Paddington and Disney Studios, right? It's like she's not working with them anymore, which is great. Because I hated her face. And Daily Wire announced they're working on a Snow White movie, which is stars that Brett girl. What's her name? I can never remember. Brett Cooper. Looks like kind of like a little tiny female Ben Shapiro.
Yes,
and
like it's strange.
And everybody was like, why didn't they just get an actual actress? I'm like, she is an actress. She's been an actress since she was 9 years old, and she does the singing in the trailer, and the trailer looks majestic and beautiful. And I'm like, man, it's gonna be hilarious if they just stay to the lore and make an enjoyable film. And my like hopes and dreams. Now I'm not up to date on it, but my hopes and dreams was that it would come out around the same time and just blitz it.
Well, it's the same year. So
yeah, it's 2024. Yeah, I just didn't know when. Be hilarious if it came out like the week before.
Well, I don't think we know which time the Disney one's coming out, so we don't know whether they're waiting or.
That'd be hilarious.
They've done this before with multiple things like the chocolate bar and all kinds of stuff. They choose topical things to launch their next thing, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, I'm sure it's going to be crap." It's like, yeah, maybe it is, but to me, I like any sign of competition to an industry, especially something like this, which is essentially a behemoth of an industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
When people start sensing like weakness and there's blood in the water and opportunity, other businesses fill the gap. But until now, Hollywood's essentially been a monopoly. Yeah, it's been lots of different companies, but they all agree on the same thing. They're all together. If you look at the strike now, they're all negotiating together in the same room. They all abide by the same agreements. It's basically a monopoly of different companies that just have all standardized everything.
Yeah.
Which I believe that would be illegal in other industries. Like, you're not allowed to do price fixing and stuff. So it's almost weird that they've grouped up like this. But anything which shows more competition, which allows more opportunities for different writers who can show their talent or do other things or have careers, because the best people will win. The people who make stuff the audience want to win will win. And what's the worst case scenario? That it's popular for the Daily Wire, presumably it'll be profitable for them, and it just doesn't go mainstream. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
If it threatens Disney and they get scared and they think, okay, maybe we have to actually making good stuff again, fine.
It's like when Top Gun Maverick came out. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was great. And there wasn't really much of a sign of, kind of like identity politics or stuff like shoehorned in. The most overpowered character was Tom Cruise, short white guy, just kicked everybody's ass. It was like, it almost subverted my expectations by subverting them. Like, because you just expect it now. You expect when an older character comes back in a movie, he's going to be sad, drunk, a shadow of his former self, bitter and shit, and not good at anything, and a trash bag, and he's getting carried by everybody else. But in Top Gun Maverick, he's like, oh, it's the legendary, dude, and he comes in and just destroys everybody, kicks their ass, does the little thing where they're like doing dogfight simulations, and he kills every single person, just nukes them, destroys the girl. She's trash. Everybody's trash, and he just wins. And I'm like, this is the greatest shit. And then at the end, he does like the impossible thing, and then he, it was great. It was just great. He just kicked everybody's ass, and he never failed to just conquer everything. And that's like something you don't see. You always see old characters that are legendary. They come and they completely strip them down and make them just shit. Like Indiana Jones did it with him twice. They've done it with every character in Star Wars. Like they were just trash. They're bitter old pieces of shit. They have nothing to offer. All of these characters keep coming back, and they keep doing this to all these characters. But they didn't do it to Top Gun Maverick. It was beautiful. It was, it's like
it was a very traditional story.
Yeah.
Because you had an enemy that was going to have some kind of technology that was going to threaten them. So you've immediately got an evil and a good, and you're the good because this is you. And then he goes out and he does the traditional hero stuff. He has to go back and save somebody. He sacrifices potentially himself. He risks everything to save a guy. It's only these people that can do this. He's the only person that can save them. Nobody else can do it. So you've immediately got the group of people sticking their head above the parapet to take on the enemy. It's literally just a heroic value. Good versus evil. Which is why people like everything. It's why Lord of the Rings are so popular. You could go on Lord of the Rings and break it down into different character arcs as much as you want. But at the end of the day, it's good versus evil. Good wins. There's something in that people like. It's the key to, it's what we want. Nobody wants, well, everybody's kind of the same and we're all evil at the end of it. It's like, no, just go away.
Yeah, it's stop making it ambiguous, like morally ambiguous. No, the Iroquois. What the hell? They do the big ginormous, like spooky ass orcs that were just freaking shredded and huge and terrifying.
The Iroquois, I think.
Yeah, they were.
I think that's what it is.
Straight up lick a knife and throw it in your face. And if this movie was rated NC-17, you best believe they were filling up every single hole in those little freaking hobbit dudes. Like it would have been the most brutal shit. And they're terrible. They're morally like just corrupt, awful. Just it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. They're just pure evil, and it's so great to see. So when they get their head cut off, it's like it's just so nice. Like you feel the weight of the blade, and you're like, yeah. Like when that one dude, after he like freaking shot Boromir like 19 times and it's slow motion, you're like, oh God. He's like, well, I would have died along beside my brother, my king. And I'm just like, oh damn, there's something in my eye. And then he fucking Aragorn kicks his ass and then stabs him, and he pulls himself closer while he's screaming and cuts his head off. And I'm like, there wasn't a flashback, DISPARU. There wasn't a flashback to that one freaking Urukai guys where he's just like a baby for some reason in the
juice. Like dad beat him or something.
Yeah,
and
he's like, and then he's like, his dad's drunk every night, and he's like, oh, you get your orc ass out of my face, beating his mom, and he's like, oh, I've never intended. I like trains and dancing. No,
I just want to be part of musical theater.
Yeah, he wanted to just brutally grape and kill everybody, and that's what it should be like, because he's a bad person. Bad people should be bad.
And those orcs inspired like loads of stuff. In Wheel of Time, you've got the Trollocs, but they're basically just orcs renamed and made to look a bit different. Yeah. And then in the TV series, they try and do the same thing. Like, oh, well, these are actually humans that have been changed, and that means they've still got the human spirit, so they're still kind of good, maybe. It's like, no, Trollocs they kill people so that they can eat them. And if they can't find people to eat, they just eat their own people. Like, there's no redeeming feature. And yet the moment it got made into a TV series, oh, actually, this is really deep and complicated because maybe the evil... No. They're just pure evil. They were bred that way by literally the embodiment of evil. And it's like, they can't take it. Because if the only thing you value is what people are, you can't really have people that are just pure evil. Because if you want to include everybody, that gets dark really quickly.
Yeah. It's like the Nothing. In Never-Ending Story, it was just darkness and sadness,
you
know, and it's what made it terrifying.
You can't even have that anymore, though. Didn't they say in the remake they're taking out the horse scene, which is the scene everybody remembers from the Never-Ending Story?
Yeah, it was brutal. It's still brutal today. I'm still like torn up about it when I think about Artex.
Yes,
I'm still torn up. They need to keep it.
Everybody remembers.
Yeah.
Bambi. the mother dying. You've got the rabbit thing, which I can never remember the name. Watership Down or Watershed Down, one of them. That's horrific. But it leaves like a mark on you that you remember for the rest of your life. And you need that. Children need to learn that it's not all nice and rainbows. Otherwise, you end up making TikToks about how you've just left college, you're working 9 to 5, and you can't handle it because I don't get back home till 6. So
I went to McDonald's and I just got out of college and I went to McDonald's and somebody called me the F slur and I'm like, well, I mean, look at you. Oh, by the way, probably shouldn't have went to 12th Street McDonald's at 3 a.m. looking like this, because that dude's gonna say that. He's gonna immediately say it to your face. I thought no one was allowed to do this. No, they're allowed. They're allowed. Yeah. They're gonna do it, man. And it's better to hear it at a young age and like move past it when you're 7 than to be flabbergasted when you're 22. You know what I'm saying?
It's exposure therapy, right? Yeah. If you're so sensitive that you can't handle anything, the cure to that is that you're just exposed to it more and more. So it's almost like anyone that's offended, just put them in a room and just have people say it to them constantly until they're not bothered anymore. The moment they can stand in there and not cry is the time they're allowed back into civilization. There's just a black dude goes to therapy and they just open a door and like he walks in and he's just in like an all white room and he's like, so what am I doing in here? They're like, I'm here for my 3 o'clock. Wait for 20 seconds and you'll figure it out. Like 4 old white people come in behind glass and they're just like, hello, sir, we're gonna do some therapy today. He's like, all right, what is this supposed to be? You're gonna find out. Well, that's the thing. It is like life is tough. You can't be so fragile that vibrations through the air will have you break down and crying. And then they're always somehow managed to turn on their phone and start live streaming or recording. Though that's what gets me. I'm so upset. Let me record this for posterity. Let me record this while I get hit by a car. Ricada Law with an orange boy says Billy Elliot, an orc story. That's what it's gonna be. Lord of the Rings, an orc story. It's from the orcs' perspective and how they were actually good and Saruman was bad. And it's like, and then the next one's about how Saruman wasn't actually bad. Sauron's bad, and now Sauron's like in Rings of Power now, and he's like helping and kind of being cool until the very end, you know. And it's like, I mean, unironically, Galadriel is more evil than Sauron in Rings of Power. Yeah, because she knows that he is, and she's like, I know you're the evil, and you're trying to do this, and you're trying to make these. Okay, let me go and do that myself. It's like, what are you doing? Yeah, they don't have logic or because people have like foundational principles that sort of drive all of their decisions. And hers seem to be, I don't care if I do evil things, as long as I get power. It's like, you do realize the thirst for power is literally the motivation of nearly every villain throughout all of history. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Nick Ricada. Appreciate you. Love you. Jessica Reloaded. Who? That was a good one. Woo! Gosh. I have a sinus infection or something. I just sneezed and about my soul left my body. Oh, geez. It's going to ruin. It's better than the pathetic sneezes. There's people like, achoo. It's like, what's the point? Just don't bother. Yeah, for real. Jessica says, can you help set the record straight for the fig trolls who keep coming in my chat saying we hooked up at Montsuri? They won't leave me alone. I told them I don't hook up with my friends that I respect. I only had sex with her face, not her ass. So that to clear anything up, her head game is outrageous. Thank you, Jessica Reloaded. Appreciate you. Get on it, doggone it. I'm just trying to clear it up for everybody. I just want to be very specific. She's like, you even had to throw in a rating system. Yeah, it's 8.7. By the way, IMDb. Yeah, appearance once. We got a $10 locals dono from Cajun Queen. Happy to stream, feeling better. If y'all can share, contribute to my sister's headphone. Yes, you fund me. Copy link address. Thank you. Thank God I have it now. This is Jessica, or not Jessica Reloaded. Still thinking about Jessica now. This is one of my friends. Her sister passed away recently. Here's a GoFundMe. I've talked to her a lot about it recently. And I've been meaning to share it, and I keep getting drunk every stream and forgetting. So there it is. Go give her some love. As you know, funerals are expensive as fuck. And you shouldn't have to worry about finances when you're going through something like that. It sucks. Been there,
with my brother when I was 27. So I understand. Ghost Meteor says, love that you're having DISPARU on. Please have him on Camel Thoughts too. Yeah. So Zia said that. She was like, hey, I was like, who should we get as our guest Saturday? And she's like, what about DISPARU? And I'm like, DISPARU's coming on tomorrow on my show. Like, we can't do it. That'd just be 2 in a row. It doesn't make any sense. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Zia does a Doctor Who stream with X-Ray Girl.
Yeah.
I promise I didn't forget her name. I remembered it eventually. But I always like those kind of things.
Yeah, she's great. 3:30 until Naked Snake, my friends. 3:30. Get the hell on it, dog on it. Slagalos, you a bitch. How you doing? But yeah, so Snow White. I want to pull up the picture of the Daily Wire's Snow White, which they can't use the dwarfs because that is one of the only things that the dwarfs name.
Neither are Disney.
Right? Does Disney not own? They don't own the rights to the story. I read that they own the rights to just the names of the dwarfs or something.
Yeah, but they're not using the dwarfs because remember, you can't have small people in your movie anymore.
Right.
Not
well, they have
after
one.
Dinklage.
They have one of them. Damn it, Peter Dinklage, you bastard! That's
Well,
he gatekeeped everyone.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Everyone out and made sure he was the only little person that could be employed.
Yes. That's what I say. It's always self-interest. This would have been 7 new people. Could have been a major movie. He didn't know that it was going to go like this. And he's like, every single dwarf that gets a role is another threat because there's very limited roles for me. And so what am I going to do? And my favorite thing was the jokes, though. Everyone was like, he pulls up the ladder behind him, the step ladder. It was like, there were so many.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you think about it, like think about Warwick Davis. That little bastard is every little person in almost everything that's especially on the UK side, right? I mean, he was like 3 different characters in Harry Potter.
Yes.
He's the little dude with the sword at the bank. He's also 2 of the teachers and some shit. Like he was in everything. And he's also the leprechaun. Great movies. I love all the leprechaun movies because they're so terrible. I love them. And Peter Dinklage is trying to take that over. He wants to be everybody in every movie, every little guy. And it's not fair for the other.
I think he has.
He has, yeah.
He's like the biggest name at the moment. He's probably the first one people think of.
Yeah. Warwick Davis and Peter Dinklage. There was another guy in like the 80s and 90s, and he was in everything. I think he might actually he was in the first that movie that they made a show of. It was terrible. What was that movie? That was that show
Willow?
called?
Is that what you mean?
Willow. Yeah, there was a lot of little people in the Willow movie, and there was like this little dude that has like a goatee, and he's like dark complected, and he's like in every. He was like every little person in every movie for like years in the 80s and 90s. And I forget his name. Somebody could probably bring up his name in the chat, and I would remember it. But he was the only other one I can think of.
There was a scene in the Willow TV show where they go to like his home, and there's just like 30 little people all over the place. Like the recruitment for that, like I don't know whether there's like specialist recruitment or anything you can go to, but look, I know loads of people hate Willow. Willow's still one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. Completely unironically, the behind the scenes was amazing. I've never got more sympathy than when that got cancelled. I had messages for days. Are you okay?
Yeah. Wait. So they had 30 little people in Willow, and that's not racist, but they can't have like 7 of them.
Well, it was
Snow White.
His sort of race in there is just all small people. So when you go to their little village, then there's all over the place.
So, but the dwarfs are dwarfs. That's their race, kind of. I think they're like little dudes, but they can't be little. It's so weird.
Well, that's what I hate about the snow. That's what I hate about Dinklage's argument, right? Because he said, I thought we'd move past like dwarves living in caves. It's like they don't live in caves; they live in a house. I don't know what your problem is. But he's playing a language game. That how we use dwarf in reality isn't dwarf in Snow White. It's actually a legitimate fantasy creature. It's not the same. But he's it's discrimination. It's one of those things. It's so basic. I think everyone sees through it.
Yeah.
But if it's beneficial to people, they just use it and pretend they don't know.
Yep. Like you said, it's all self-interest. This is the Daily Wire Snow White with old Brett Cooper. And as you can see, she's white as hell. and has black hair, and she's actually doing all the singing parts apparently in the movie. And from the trailer, she actually sounds pretty decent. She doesn't sound terrible or anything because she's actually singing in this goofy trailer right here. And you can it just looks nice. It looks all fairy tale-y, and there's like deers and shit walking around. You know?
Yeah, and compare any of the shots from this to what we saw of the Disney one.
Yeah, exactly. Look, a squirrel. Beautiful squirrel.
I mean, you win me over the moment you show a squirrel, so...
Yeah. It just looks like mythical and nice and cuddly. And I'm not getting yelled at, you know? And then also, they interviewed her, and she's like, I was raised on original Grimm's fairy tales. I'm so excited. Snow White's so amazing. It's so great. And it's such a contrast to, like, Zegler being like, yeah, the original movie is terrible, and I hate it, and it creeps me out, and I hate men, and I hate you. And I'm like, what the fuck?
But that was the interesting thing about her interviews, because she said both. She said, I grew up with this. It was so amazing. I loved it. It's meant so much to me as a child. And then she's like, I've only seen it once, and I got scared and never watched it again. Like, at least get your story straight.
It's like, you can't have both.
It's one of the issues with, like, Hollywood in general. It's like, if you're going to lie to me, at least give me the benefit of assuming, like, do a good job of it. Don't assume I'm an idiot and treat me like one. At least lie to me properly, and I might respect you a bit. But until then, I'm just going, oh, please. Just piss off.
Yeah.
I'll treat you the same way you treat me.
And it's all culminating. Like we were talking about before we went live, we were talking about the Hollywood strike failure. And apparently the strike, I actually thought it ended. And I think it's because they were so close
to
to
WGA ended.
Oh, the other one's the SAG strike, right?
Yeah, it's writers and actors.
Oh.
WGA is the writers. SAG-AFTRA is the actors.
Oh my god, it makes sense.
They wanted to get the writers out the way, then move on to the actors, and everyone was like, the moment the writers are done, the actors will be over in like 2 weeks, and it was going to be.
Yeah, and then they demanded a non-negotiable 57 cents per membership, like amount of money. And it was so bad where, like, I think it was George Clooney and a couple other people wanted to donate $150 million directly to, like, the fund just to end the strike so they could go back to work. But Fran Drescher said no.
Yes. Just cheers. I tell you, if anyone wants to be the center of attention, because she's spoken about leaving a legacy. She wants to leave a legacy. It's like, yes, and you will burn anyone. You will just burn people's jobs and careers just so you can leave a legacy. Because the actual maths behind it is, it's like 124 million or something is their current amount of residuals. So they were going to get 150 on top of that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough because they want something like want about $500 million.
Yeah.
So it's 5 times the current and they would have only got double from that 150. It's absolutely insane. And this was apparently someone from the negotiations came forward and said this was like last minute. We thought everything was done, settled. We were going to give them a huge pay increase. Basically, they've offered them the pay increase that the writers settled for, which is something like 5% first year, 3% second year, 2% last year. The writers want 11%. The actors want 11% in their first year. So just 1 year, they want like more than the entirety of the writers' entire contract for 3 years. It's insane.
Jesus.
And all of this it was almost like they saw the writers, got jealous of what they had, and then thought, we can get even more because we're more powerful than them. And so you've got Fran, who does 2 gigs a year, like 1 episode of this, maybe a TV movie here. And then you've got other people where 3 months of work is tens of millions of dollars. And like, I just want to work. That's the only thing I want to do.
She's got nothing to lose. She has nothing to lose. And everybody else is losing everything.
She's got nothing to lose and she's got everything to gain. Because it's like, anybody who speaks about leaving a legacy, it's like, this was in because there was a re-election campaign went on in the middle of the strike and they re-elected it. Well, that was a big mistake, wasn't it? And she said, unity will be the legacy I leave behind me. I've worked hard to unify this entire guild. We've seen how she unifies the guild. Anybody who even remotely says one word out of line gets absolutely annihilated and crushed and blacklisted and all kinds of stuff. Did you see what happened to Stephen Amell?
No.
This was, the writer's strike was still going on. He's the guy who plays Arrow.
I saw this. Yeah.
And the only thing he said is he was like, I support my, the older, I support my union, completely support it. Obviously, I'd never say anything against it. I do think it's a bit of a reductive strategy, though, when we probably could have negotiated without actually going so far. And then within like 3 days, he had to completely apologize, bow down, and was on the picket line. Like, what did they do to you? Like, they crushed him immediately. That's like the price of unity.
What was well, it's like a mafia. It's what was it? The Drew Barrymore. She's like, I want to start my show back up, and they were livid. And I think she had to release a tear-full apology or something ridiculous like that as well. And then she started it back up anyway. Like it was like
yeah,
whatever.
But after the writer's strike was over, and the thing is, she said it was only the writers that said that we were pissed about it because she doesn't use actors. But she said we'll just start it up without the writers, and that's what made them pissed off. It's like I've just realized you don't need me, and so they got really angry and started picking it because they started saying it wasn't just writing. They were like, well, if you work out where the camera should be, or who talks first, or who the guests are, that's writing. Like, no, it isn't. They took the widest definition possible to try and claim she was still breaking rules.
That's like what I do when I'm like explaining to people like what I do for YouTube. They're like, "What? How is your job strenuous?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, you don't even know. It's so strenuous. I got to do all these things and stuff. But really, it's just me talking to the camera and then sleeping and then sending everything to my editor. It's so strenuous. You don't even understand. It used to be when I edited my own stuff. Now it's just like whatever. I just film like 4 or 5 videos and send them off, then go to bed. That's what I do. Nick Ricada, by the way, with another orange boy, going to single-handedly get us the damn naked snake, it looks like, which we are officially 80, 90, I can't do math, 309 away from, maybe, Alabama. He says, I'm glad the Daily Wire is here to save Hollywood from its Jewish owners. Thank you, Ben Shapiro. Damn it, Ben. He's one of them. No, thank you, Nick. Appreciate you. Nick writing some new jokes for his comedy bit, which he did his first comedy show. I actually watched a review of it, and it got glowing reviews. They said he was great. It was hilarious. But they were like, yeah, he could never do that bit like that set like in a normal comedy club. Because it was
I
so
saw
racist.
A clip of him talking about it. And
it was so racist.
He said it was something like, I was watching it back and I realized 2 things. And the second one was, it was massively racist.
That's what makes it hilarious. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I'm the kind of person, it's like, if it's a joke, there's no line. Like, it's a joke, get over it. Like, the entire point of jokes is to be across the line. That's why they're there. They're meant to push boundaries. That's why they're funny in the first place. That's why current stand-up comedy isn't funny, because it's all safe, and it's just like, look at this thing, don't you agree? There's the difference between clap comedy and laughter, because laughter's a reflex, but clap comedy is, I recognize this thing, and I agree with it.
Yeah.
And I was watching, if you watch any kind of late-night show, it's all clapping. I mean, they'll be told to laugh on the thing, but a lot of it is clapping. Thank you for speaking out against this massive bigot. I completely agree. Thank you. Horrible.
It's I don't know. I find that cringe. I can't watch late night shows, man. Like, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older, but I like weirdly scoff. Like, if I go to I race like all year. I race like an oval car series, similar to like NASCAR, and I travel everywhere, and I have to get hotels, right? And they always just have cable, like TV and hotels, and it's like I'm going back to like 1994 every time I get to a hotel and turn the TV on. And I'll just be skimming through the channels, and I'll just go by all the news stations, and there's just people that look extremely serious with like business suits on, like staring at the camera, and there's like objects floating on screen, and there's a giant green screen behind them, and it's all dramatic. And I go to I'm just scrolling through all these channels, and like there's all these talking heads, and then everybody's got their business suits on, and people are clapping, and it just all seems weirdly like all manufactured, completely manufactured and fake. And it's like dystopian when I watch cable, like when I'm in a hotel. I'm like, how do people watch this shit? How do people actually watch like Jimmy Kimmel and like unironically watch this shit?
Well, when it got cancelled for having no writers, I don't know anyone that cared. Like, not a single person.
No. And it's weird because you can go, and it's probably obviously because they paid YouTube or Google, but when you go to like What? Not Jimmy Kimmel, but maybe it is Jimmy Kimmel. It's the other guy. I don't know. I don't even know their names. But his YouTube channel, which is literally just the show, the TV show, is got like 20 million views per video and 20 million subscribers. And I'm like, who? No one's watching this. What is this? Like, how is this apparently one of the biggest things that exists, bigger than the biggest YouTubers out there, with the exception of like 5, and it can get canceled off TV and literally no one cares. No one's talking.
If you get put on the front page of YouTube, you'll get millions.
Yeah.
The sheer amount of impressions, no matter how bad it is, no matter how low your click rate is, there's just so much traffic coming in.
Yep.
That you'll get those numbers. So you can kind of make anything that way. And, you know, if it's pushing an idea that you want pushed, you're willing to sacrifice a bit of money.
Yep.
I mean, if it gets ads, they're not even sacrificing money, are they? They don't really care.
Yeah, it was like Brie Larson when she started up her YouTube channel. She like got 300 or 200,000 subscribers the first day, and every time she posted a video, it was like the #1 thing on YouTube until YouTube stopped caring, and then she could not get any views at all. It was just dead. Within 3 months, her channel was dead. I think she was getting like 11,000 views on videos sometimes, and she's Brie Larson. I was like, damn.
Well, I mean, you get to a point, especially with the like late night shows. If you're watching somebody be a comedian, you want it to be their sense of humor. Like that's if it's 20 other people's, and it's so much theirs that when they go on strike or whatever, the show actually can't happen. Like none of those presenters had enough talent to even do one show where they wrote it. That was what got me. It was immediately gone. Didn't do it. And I don't know if you saw any of their podcasts. They tried to get together with a podcast. Awful. Absolutely
they're unwatchable
awful.
Because they're not interesting people. They just were on SNL in like 1998. Like it's like, damn.
They tried to write a joke. They tried to write it was an intro joke between them where they all said a few lines, and it's so badly done and so badly edited because obviously over like I think they use Skype or I can't remember what the other one. No, Zoom. They use Zoom, but because everyone had a delay and they're trying to read one line after another, there's a huge gap between everyone saying the next line. They just left it in the intro, and so you've got this really awkward, full of silence intro that they're paying adverts to advertise their new podcast, and it's like, did you not even run this past an editor?
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of when COVID was happening and everyone was basically in like in LA and states like that, or states like California. My state did not change at all. No, Tennessee, like a lot of states where I live, nothing changed. No one wore a mask. No one even talked about it. But of course, in LA, it was different. And they would do like their shows kind of from home, but they would just use like an iPad with no mic, and it would just be a terrible iPad camera and like echoey noise. And I'm like, why did they not even test this? This is awful. Like you couldn't just send them a couple mics and freaking like an interface or something and just get somebody from the studio to hook it up in their house and say, okay, just click this button when it pops up and then you'll be live. And they're like, okay. No, they just gave them an iPad and like called each other on Skype, and it was awful quality. And I'm like, I can't believe no one ran this by anybody. And it was that way for months. Like every sports center, every sports channel, they were all on tablets and you couldn't even understand what people were saying. And I'm like, why did they think this was a good idea?
That was the amazing thing. Over here, there were several radio stations where their presenters would do it from home, but they actually sent a guy around with equipment to set it up. So, you know, you could notice a bit of a difference. It was a bit echoey, but it wasn't that bad. But what amazed me was all the celebrities. Like, even if they weren't doing a daily show, they were still going and doing interviews for stuff. Like, none of them had any pride in what they were doing. They just used whatever they had lying around. It's like, you are multi-millionaires. You have no excuse for not buying, like, at least a webcam that is better quality than whatever you're using, and a microphone. It's like, oh, but there's shortages. It's like, yeah, but you could at least try. And I think they're so used to getting everything handed to them.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They've never had to do any of this themselves. And it was really weird. It was a really weird time. And, of course, YouTube flourished. That was a great time for YouTube.
Well, that was when I hit 100K. Time, so I don't know.
I hit 100K immediately, like so fast. And I don't know if I...
Oh, is that when you grew?
Yeah, it was 2019 is when I started blowing up, and then when I hit 100K right when COVID was like becoming a thing. Like the shutdowns were happening right when I hit 100K, and
wow. You must have had a great few months then.
it was great. Yeah, I hit 200K within another year. I think it was pretty fast, and then now it's like 1,000 to 2,000 per month, and it's just there's never any of those crazy months where you get like 40K in 1 month. That hasn't happened in like 2 years for me. It's been like that. It's the shadow banning. Although I did have a 6-month period that was really solid, like the last 6 months. It was just extremely solid for 6 months. It was really nice. Hasn't happened in years. But yeah, it's been wild. It's been wild to see. And I don't how do you foresee the Actors Guild thing ending? Do you see it ending?
Well, it's weird, right? Because we're still negotiating, and then they today the studios came back with another offer, and they're basically offering them what the WGA had and probably some other things before it. But it's so far away from what they're demanding. It's like, well, the unions seem to think that they've got an infinite pile of money.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't think you realize how bad a state the industry's in, and it's kind of the industry's fault. They've not been showing people viewing figures, because if they did, that'd harm the investors. And so they're trying to pretend that everything's great and we've got loads of money and there's huge piles of cash everywhere. It's all listed with gold. And then all of the actors have believed it, so now they're asking for their part of that gold. It's like, it's not there.
Yeah.
So I don't think the studios can literally afford, because even with the current deal, they're going to be losing money because the quality of programming is not going to improve.
No.
And so whatever they're giving you, it's going to be a loss. And that you just keep asking for more. And I think if you're asking for something, because this deal gets negotiated every 3 years, and if this time you're asking for a 5 times increase in your wages, that's probably a bit much. Especially when next 3 years down the line you can do it again. So I think the union's going to have to break, but I don't think she's going to do it. I think the A-listers are going to have to come in, and that would be their best offer. Be like, look, if you don't do this, we're leaving.
Yeah. It's and you said it won't result in better quality of like programming. That's the weird thing is, I assumed when like Top Gun Maverick, and there was a couple of movies that came out last year and this year, I was like, okay, things are going to start course correcting because all these studios are going to see that these movies are bringing in huge amounts of money because they're not, following this weird programming they've been doing. And it doesn't seem to have changed. And that's why I got excited for this Snow White movie. I'm like, because if this movie at all does well, just at all does well, it could, reverberate and at least inspire more like studios or something to start up in different parts of the world, maybe different parts of the US, to try to put out entertainment that's not convoluted with forced messaging and diversity.
It's because I'm not sure it's possible for them. Like, they're making stuff that they think is good, and so it's not like they're deliberately making trash. This is their best effort. And so until you change people out who have like a morality that the audience agrees with, I don't think you can get better. Now, it might happen by accident, right? So they've been making movies and TV series. The Secret Invasion cost $212 million, and I don't know how. It's 6 episodes. Most of it's filmed in abandoned buildings. I genuinely couldn't tell you where the money went. But there is a possibility that if they just go, we're not giving you 212 million, we're giving you 50, do it. That they might, being constrained by that, they might be forced to make like a more classical TV, like it's more procedural, everything's focused around characters because they can't have big set pieces where we travel to another world. And so it might force them to just make more generic things, which won't give them the opportunity to push all the stuff they want. But and the other, like, there's also, because John Wick 4 cost like 100 million, which is a lot of money. It's not a lot of money compared to what they normally spend. So, and action movies are quite difficult to push that kind of stuff in. So it could happen accidentally. If they make horror movies, action movies, just cheap budget stuff, they might not be able to do what they want, and it accidentally becomes okay.
Yeah, I remember when I watched John Wick 4, and there was that girl, and she was obviously going to be like a trained fighter or whatever. She was like the daughter of that one Japanese guy, And I was like, oh no, she's gonna be like overpowered. And then she immediately gets her ass kicked by like the first thug that ran up to her. That's not even like a character. It's just like a no-name thug. Just beat the hell out of her. And she barely won, like barely won. And I'm like, okay, never mind. She sucks. She's because John Wick just comes there and breaks everybody's necks and like leaves, you know. And she got her ass kicked by like the one freaking dude, and he was throwing her around like a rag doll because he was huge.
And she had a different fighting style. She was on the floor going for people's ankles. They were like way taller than her, so they were struggling to get down on her level. So they did make her use the advantages that she had.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. It's when you start like, you know, kicking a guy from a standing thing and he's like 4 times your weight. It's just what are you doing?
God, I hate that. Yeah.
Semi-realistic. And the thing is, there's a Korean show, I can't remember what it's called. But they do it better. There's one where she joins a load of assassins, but they have a specific scene where he's like, if you get punched in the face, you're dead, right? Because they're just bigger than you. You have to take them down. You have to take them down fast, preferably by surprise, and you've just got to go for vital points. The longer the fight goes out, the more you're going to die. And I'm kind of okay with that. As long as you give me a reason why they can do this stuff, okay. But if the reason is I'm just as good as them, no, that's not gonna work.
If I'm watching something and there's like a 118-pound woman that's like 5'2", and there's like a slew of dudes like running up to her to like fight her, and she's just like choreographically like punching them, and they're like falling down and like punching them like with her fist and like kicking them and tripping them, and like it's so silly, and like it completely takes me out of it, like de-immerses me immediately, because I've been punched in the face by a 110-pound girl. And all it was annoying. And I was like 16. I was like a kid. Like, imagine like now I'm like a very large 200-pound man. Like a 110-pound girl is not like she could be the most deadliest trained fighter in the world. And if it's hand to hand, I'll just pick her up and throw her like a baby. There is like, it doesn't matter. It's like I had this conversation, and dude, my chat was like yelling at me because there's simps in there that like to pretend that women can like beat your ass. And I like that idea too. It's a fantasy of mine for like a giant woman to like hold me down, but that just doesn't exist. And my chat I was talking about how you could take an average man, like an average 160, 175-pound man that's like 5'9", and put him in the octagon with like a champion UFC like fighter, like a woman, and she would struggle. She would have a struggle with this dude. Like he could possibly, if he connects with her, he could knock her out. He could hold her down. Like this girl still weighs 122 pounds, 118 pounds. Like, and they're like, nah, she would a professional female fighter would beat almost any man that's not a professional. I'm like, no, she wouldn't. No, she wouldn't. I'm sorry. No, like things matter. Things like height, size, span, all of that matters a lot. Right. And then there's always this thing where UFC fighters, like on the news or something, or like an article, it's like female UFC like fighter, MMA fighter assaulted by boyfriend, and like he's arrested. And I'm like, how did he assault her and like she not kick his ass? And he's like not a fighter. It's because he's a man, a large man. Okay. It's a large man. No, Gina Carano not. I'm sorry. People love to bring up names. No, Gina Carano. I love Gina Carano. I think she's amazing. I love her. I would give anything to be with her, like intimately. But like, I'm just saying that if Gina Carano stepped up to me and was like, "Let's fight," it would end in like 6 seconds, be over. And she's a trained MMA fighter. I am not at all, even a little. You know what I mean? Like,
one of my favorite things that I saw, it was about tennis, right? And they were talking to Serena Williams. And like, so many people have believed it because a lot of people just believe whatever they see in movies as if it's real. And they were like, yeah, so, you know, whoever the best guy in tennis is, how do you think, you know, if you were to, how do you think he'd dominate me? It's like, no, don't put yourself down. I'm sure you, what about the second guy? She said, no. What about the 10th? No. What about the 5th? No. And she was just like, I know that there's a whole element of, the better you are at something, the more you're aware of what you can't do. And she knew exactly how like beneath she was. I think she said you could take anyone in the top 100. I wouldn't stand a chance. It was like,
yeah.
They were arguing with her though. That's how much that they believe that there's no difference whatsoever. and it's why I prefer Korean shows. Everyone acts like normal people, and they show stuff that you would never see over here. Because it's like, well, you know, how would a woman survive in a scenario? Would she like play up her own advantages? Well, not in the Western stuff, but in Korea.
Yeah.
It plays out exactly how it would in an apocalyptic scenario.
Oh, dude, the Korean
it draws
shows.
you in so much more.
They're so I've been watching a lot of Korean like shows, Korean movies, and it's just so beautiful when there's like a zombie apocalypse and everybody's
All
running.
of us are dead.
Yeah, that's a great show. Watched that recently. The Sadness. I watched The Sadness recently. It was good. All of Us Are Dead was freaking-tastic. I didn't know if I liked it like 4 episodes in, and then after it was over, all I wanted was more, and I thought about it like all the time. And I was like, I guess I really enjoyed that show because I really enjoyed it. But they're like in every show and every movie, when shit hits the fan, like you have girls that are running like with their hands above their heads, like kind of screaming, and then like dudes are trying to fight off things, which is how that works. That's what happens. Like women are not fighting off stuff, and the only women that usually are, it's inherent that they have like super abilities, which is totally fine. Just make that apparent that they're like a super, like that one zombie girl that wasn't a zombie, but she was also a zombie, and she was like kicking asses because she had like super strength because she was infected, but she got like a special kind, which is kind of shitty. Because what if you were a normal zombie, DISPARU? What if you're like, you like get bit and you're like, man, I really hope I become a super zombie like that one chick, and then you're like start turning into a normal zombie, and you're like, this sucks.
But I like that because it means that people wouldn't get deliberately bitten, right? Because only a few people get it, and they still hadn't, from what I remember, worked out why, whether it was like a mental state or it was a physical thing.
Yeah.
But they had to give a reason why everyone didn't just, okay, bite me then. This is amazing. So I like that.
There was that one guy that was an asshole that like didn't become a freaking zombie. He was a monster. He was a brutal motherfucker. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
But that was the thing. You had him who was the evil, then you had her that was the hero when they had to fight. It was
cool.
The one person that stands above the rest. It's a very typical heroic story, and you have that across everything.
Yeah, and the unfortunate truth though is that guy that has a crush on her and wants to dick her down, he would definitely get the virus, right? Because it's sexually transmitted. I'm pretty sure.
Well, this was one of the issues with She-Hulk. It's like she has gamma radiation. That's a risky night.
God, that's the one reason I didn't. Everybody hates my opinion on this, but I love 28 Days Later. It's one of my favorite like zombie films. It just feels it evokes a really cool environment. It's like weirdly vintage, like filmed, and it also has a weird soundtrack which really works with it. Love the movie. You go on a journey through that movie, and then 28 Weeks Later, I don't really care for it, and I think the reason why I don't is because everybody holds the idiot ball. Everybody's making stupid mistakes over and over. The dad's like, I'm just going to kiss the lady now for no reason. Everybody's expecting. The kids are like, we want to leave and then ride our bikes through the zombie world and then find our old house for no reason. I'm like, why are they leaving? What's happening? I was like, God, this is awful. Whereas in 28 Days Later, it was some stupid ass environmentalists, like animals rights people. Oh, the cute monkey. You got to say the monkey. And then the monkey gets out. And that's how it works. And then it spreads. And then like the dude has to kiss his like dead wife. Come on.
But you saw like him change. Like the bit that I always remember from that movie is where he's in the house and he attacks them and he uses his thumbs into that guy's eye. It's horrific, but it shows like the lengths that people will go to in a life and death scenario. And that's why I like Alice in Borderland. Alice in Borderland's possibly my favorite show of all time.
You recommended that to me. Loved it.
It's incredible.
It has one anime trope that I don't like, but I ended up liking, I think. And it's an anime trope, and it's in everything. But it's when
it's from a manga, so
that's probably one. So there's like, and you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. When you'll be trying to decipher what's happening on screen, and you're starting to work it out in your own brain, and you're like, ooh, okay, cool. I think I know what's going on. And then like the main character will like explain in excruciating detail his entire plan to the guy that he's talking to, like for like 20 minutes.
I think that's just a trope in general, though.
Yeah, but it was like he's like, I knew that you would pull that card 2 rounds from now because I knew that the first round you pulled this.
Oh no, I liked that. No, the number game in season 2, the number game. I think that's incredible. This is literally just a game. It's like 25 minutes of people.
That's what I'm referring to. Yeah, the number.
But I think it's incredible. I love that. Oh, what
the acid? The acid was brutal, man.
Yeah,
it was like no.
Because I like where you see people's minds working, because this is why I like Death Note and stuff, because it explains all the logic behind the things and people's plans. It's the same with Code Geass. I like it's probably a preference.
Yeah, it was something I didn't care for, but then I started liking. Like the more I watched it, I don't know, it was like something I expected. I'm like, well, I'm gonna wait for him to explain this. It's like
there's a reality show that I've been watching, The Devil's Plan, which reality show over here means like you get a load of idiots just to make fools of themselves.
Yeah.
But they've got like a load of really clever people and then set them really complicated games, and it's all like manipulation and backstabbing and stuff. It's awesome. But the rules take like 10 minutes to explain because they're that complicated. So I'm like, it takes a while to get into, but they just do better TV than us. And I think it's because they don't assume everyone's an idiot.
Yep.
And they just want to entertain them.
Speaking of entertaining us, Jadine with another pink boy, the third one of the night, or second one, maybe. I don't know. Thank you so much, Jadine. Coming in strong. Says, glad to see Disparu back. Disparu, thanks for destroying Rafe Judkins. Burn his legacy to the ground for what he's done to my Wheel of Time. I tried watching Wheel of Time before I ever started watching reviews of it, and this was a while ago. And I tried to watch it, and I was like 2 or 3 episodes in, and I was like, "This is awful. What is this?"
Yeah,
what
they were the best ones. I got worse.
It was a nightmare. I was like, I can't watch this. And I think it was one of my friends or a girl I was dating, like, or hanging out with, said she loved the books or something. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch it, because she's like, the books, it's very fantasy. And I'm like, well, I like fantasy. And I couldn't watch it. I was so disinterested.
There's no relation between the TV, like literally none. You might as well have burnt the books and just made something. He made the show he wanted to make and then just stuck Wheel of Time on it. And it doesn't even make sense, right? Because you'd think, well, okay, if his aim is just to, because he's a self-described feminist and stuff, which is what he pitched to Amazon, so they've got the show they wanted. But even in the finale, there's a scene where the woman she's essentially chained with magic, and so they can completely control her and she can't do anything. But in the books, 2 of her female friends save her. It's like, well, they're not going to mess with that, because this is women saving women. What message could be that? No, in this, she has to save herself. She has to get another collar and put it on the person that's chained her to get her own revenge. And then the male hero that comes in, he's on the ground while everybody else fends off people. And then he just like stabs them for the final blow, because that's in the books. But everything else about it is changed, and they just humiliate the main character. And you're like, well, okay, I could even understand that you don't like the main character and you want other people to do it, but I don't know why you would have had her save herself rather than her friends save her. It's like, it's the ultimate, you've got to be independent and not rely on anybody. It's weird.
Yeah, well, that's like, there was this unspoken rule in like a lot of Hollywood writing, whereas a male character could not save a female character outright. It was like not allowed. It could not happen on screen.
And you can't write stories like that, because that's what men do. So
yeah, that's literally what men do. That's why we still exist 200,000 years later. Because
like,
men
if you take
die.
that away from men, there isn't really much point for them. Like the entire point of them is to build and protect. That's why they exist.
Yep. And it's like those. I saw a reel, an Instagram reel the other day, and I've seen this same question asked like 1,000 times, but it was like, if men disappeared tomorrow, how do you think women would fare? And of course, like the woman that's being interviewed is like, it would be actually pretty amazing. Like, I think women would be really happy if that happened. And I'm like, what about sewage, electricity, internet, any kind of infrastructure at all? Like, what about any of these things? And then she's like, of course, she's like, oh, well, women could just do that. And I'm like, no, they can't, and they wouldn't. Like, who's going to line up to go in this sewer with all the roaches and the fucking shit? They're not. 99.999% of those jobs are like only men. And it's like, and then she came back and was like, well, 75% of healthcare workers are female. I'm like, that's not infrastructure. Who's going to pave the roads? I don't think I've ever seen a woman working on a road being paved when I'm like driving by some road construction. It's all like 9 men doing it.
And if you look at the stats of things like construction, they're there, but like the numbers are hidden, so they're actually like in offices, organizing things for the guys that go up on roofs. No, men like things, women like people. So
Yep.
that's why they go to hospitals and stuff, because they like working with people. This is just a natural thing that everybody does, and everybody knows this is a stupid thing. Everybody knows it's true, and like, oh, you can't. It's like, but you know it's true. So I don't know why you're arguing about it. But it's defeated the same way. There's always been a thing of people always think if they go back to medieval times, like you get a time machine, you go back to medieval times, you think you'd be like a god. I know all this stuff. I've got a mobile phone, and you'd be amazed at what this can do. And like, you're 3 questions away from looking like an idiot. It's like, what does it do? Oh, that's amazing. How does it work? Well, it gets power, and you charge it up, and then it does all this stuff. It's like, oh, where does the power come from?
Oh shit!
The wall.
Exactly.
We're all idiots,
right? And that's the thing is, I don't understand like why people can't like acknowledge both. Like, men, we would be devastated if women disappeared tomorrow. We would eventually be fucked, but we would last longer. You know, we would last a little bit longer, right? Whereas infrastructure would collapse tomorrow if men disappeared, and if women disappeared, life would go on for a short period of time until everybody went freaking insane. Like, it would be, because we need women. But see, that's something that I can say because it's true. But for some reason, when women are asked these questions, we don't need men at all. And it's like, have you thought about that? Or are you just saying it because you're just supposed to say it?
A lot of people get taught things in high school and never think about them ever again.
Yeah,
but they repeat them. It's like there's loads of statements that people, and it's just like there's no such thing as bad. What was it? No such thing as bad advertisement or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Loads of people will repeat that by rote, but they never thought about it. They just heard it. Everyone says it. Because everybody says it, everyone thinks it's true. And like, well, you spend 5 minutes thinking about that, and you'll realize, oh, it doesn't actually make any sense at all.
Yep.
And there's so many things like that that people just get taught.
Yep. That's just how it works. Tracy Reeves says, how much to the Naked Snake? 250. We're halfway there, my friend. We are winding down. It's late as hell for Disparu. So we got probably about 20, 25, 30 minutes left to talk about a few more things. What do you got coming up? Because I watched your channel. I watch almost every damn video you put out.
Well, my next one is on the strike with good old Fran.
Oh, Fran.
It's tough, right? Because I'm like, I feel sorry for the actors. I have to spend like 2 minutes going, I don't actually feel sorry for the actors because they've done all of this stuff. But in this case, it's probably not their fault. So,
yeah.
But she, like, her entire thing. Oh, I the last thing I would want, like, could you imagine doing YouTube and then just a guy comes along and goes, by the way, you can't do YouTube for 6 months. You're like, what? No, you can't do it.
Yeah. Well,
No,
yeah.
well, why? Oh, by the way, you can't say anything negative about me either. Because if you do, we'll get you banned. What? Yeah, and you've got to go and stand on this pavement all day for photographs and then tell everybody how great I am because I'm making you not work. Like, what? It just gets worse. And then you find if she comes out and she's like, yeah, you know, she talks like a religious cult leader.
Yeah.
It is because when all the A-listers came, they'd spoken to the studios first, so presumably they'd talk to me like, you know, what can we offer them? Do you think, would you accept this deal? And then they came to her and tried to convince her. They were essentially acting like a neutral party. And she said something like, we won't listen to the studio's emissaries and they won't sway us from our mission. Like, that's not business. Like, a business person doesn't talk about a mission. That's like a religious cult leader. You've got something you want to prove.
Yeah. It's weird. It's really spooky. I don't and it, like, going back to the thing, if somebody told me I couldn't do YouTube for 6 months and I couldn't talk about it, I'd be fucked.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I have to.
It is horrible for a lot of them.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for a lot of them because it's not their choice. They've signed up to a crowd, which they have to be because you don't get work if you're not in the union. And then they're like, yeah, by the way, we don't care about your rent payments. You can't work now. It's horrific.
Yeah, there was this guy. I saw this guy was complaining that he had to do gardening at his like apartment complex or something that he lived at.
Yeah.
And he was really upset about having to like do work. And I'm like, oh, well, now you have to unfortunately go get like a job like everyone else does.
That was the thing with the writers, though. They had 5 or 6 months of basically being unemployed, right? But you could write scripts. You could write future ideas to to do to people. And there was a thing. It's like, yeah, no one did. Last strike years ago they did. This time, no one bothered. So it's the Hollywood work ethic. If we're not forced to, there was even, I can't remember his name. I think Neil Gaiman came out with a quote, and it was something like, "Yeah, you know, you write some crap on Friday, you come back on Monday. Doesn't seem that bad." I'm like, why are you admitting that in public? Have some pride. Say, "Yeah, you know, that was trash, but it'll do." It's like, no.
I mean, that's all. That's all the writers on late talk shows, like late talk shows. Yeah, like those daily shows or whatever. Is they're terrible. The material is absolutely abhorrent. Yet they have an entire team of writers behind them. I'm like, this is the best y'all can do.
I do wonder with that if it's just like time, because I even with my reviews, like I like to do at most one a week. So I end up getting dragged into more sometimes, but I think they suffer if you end up doing two more because you just run out of stuff to say. And
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to be funny every day and you've only got like 6 hours to write it or whatever, I can understand why it's trash. But that's a problem with the setup more than anything else.
Yeah, it's that's what I do, like one max, at the very max 2 videos a week. Because it would start becoming too structured, or maybe not structured. I don't know. My when I do videos, it's completely, I just hit record and I just talk for like 15 minutes. There is no planning. I basically, if I have something I want to talk about, I'll have like 4 tabs open and I'll speak to those. And that's what I've done since the very beginning, except for like the first couple of videos where I actually had a script and it was like, I felt like it was too robotic. So just was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna talk. So everything's off the cuffs. And sometimes I have freaking banger jokes that are completely off the cuff. And then sometimes it's just, I guess I wasn't feeling it that day. But my editor does a great job at just making it funny. Because he'll like, oh, you sucked on this video, so I had to really edit the shit out of it to make it funny. And I'm like, thanks, appreciate that.
There's a lot. I edit my own stuff, but I like to watch editing podcasts and stuff. And a lot of them is like the interplay between the person making it and then the editor. They sort of both their personalities combined to make something better than either one could make on their own. So
Yeah,
it's,
exactly.
editors do a lot of work they don't get a lot of credit for.
No, my editor's great, but sometimes he's a dickbag. I'll be like, hey, make sure you put the sub message within the first 1 minute of my clips on my other channel. And he's like, okay. And then like I will post a video, or he'll post one of the videos and it will do awesome. Get like 50K views. And I'm like, oh, great. That's great for the other channel. And I'll go and like look at analytics and it's like got 20 subs. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And like, cause it should be like 300. And I go watch it, and of course the sub message is like at the very end of the video, and I'm like, what the fuck, motherfucker? I was like, I have to DM him. I'm like, what the hell, son? I said first minute, and you put it at the end, and no one subscribed on that video. You fucked me. How could you fuck me like this? I pay you, and you fuck me.
Yeah, I have set timestamps that I do it. 1 minute 30, 15 minutes, and then every 15 afterwards. It's my rule.
Yeah. You have to do it. You have to.
It's one of those things. It's like, I don't know whether it does anything. I don't know whether it helps. It's just I've always done it, and so I always will.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I have direct correlation. My biggest video on my alt channel ever, because I started an alt channel like a year ago, and about 6 months ago, I started clipping this show, or getting my editor and to clip this show, and then put like all kinds of clips on my alt channel. And I guess it took about 6 months for the algorithm to realize it was there. And it just started going nuclear, like overnight. And the very first video that popped off was just a clip of me and Gary talking, Nerdrotic. And
He'll have that effect.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, all of his videos that I had, all the clips I had of him blew up, and it got like 250,000 views and almost no subs. And I was like, damn,
wow.
It was like 269 subs, I think, or 300. And I put up another Gary clip that did similar, like got 44,000 views. So it did great, but it had like triple the subs as the video that was like 8 times larger, just because I put a sub message in there in the first minute. So the sub rate was like 500% higher on that video. So it definitely works. It has to.
What's the thing? YouTube's actually very good at, if you watch a channel, whether you subscribe or not, if it thinks you're interested in it, it'll keep sending you videos. So subscriptions have probably become less important than they were that way, as it's just interest based.
Yeah.
But it's still nice. Like,
Yeah.
it's a number that goes up, and numbers going up make you feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, Toby said there was some terrible people in the comment section with the Gary video. Well, you got to think that Gary, me, I mean, even DISPARU, we all kind of don't like hide what we want to say. And also that goes hand in hand with you just getting a large following. People will hate you. There was a clip of me put up the other day on some random channel, and I don't mind those at all. I think they're funny as fuck. I watch them. I've never cared unless they like try to get me swatted. That's the only time I really care. But I watched a clip the other day, and it was actually funny. I was like, oh, that was hilarious in this clip. And dude, the comments are like unhinged. People are like, Camelot should be arrested. He could be arrested for this. And it was like nothing. I didn't do anything. It was like I had a show with Pippa Pipkins, like she's a VTuber, and we had a falling out on Twitter over some bullshit. Just silly shit, silly nonsense. And I talked about it like with Nick on a show after it happened. And I think one more time, and then I didn't talk about it for like 4 months because I haven't thought about it. I just haven't thought about it. And then like she blocked me on YouTube because I rated her one day because I was drunk and I thought it'd be funny to rate her because she hates me. I just thought it was funny. And of course she blocked me on YouTube. That's fine, obviously. And somebody super chatted and was like, "Hey, Pippa blocked you." And I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, probably. I'd imagine she would." And the comment section was like saying that I could be arrested for harassment because I said like Pippa's name on my channel like once in like 4 months. They're like, he could be arrested for harassment and have his channel banned. And I'm like, because I said Pippa, like the name Pippa? Damn.
Yeah.
The law was
I didn't
crazy.
realize the law was that sensitive.
When did this law take place? Like YouTuber says other YouTubers named arrested. Like, damn, America's wild. What is this? Zimbabwe? Sounds like Zimbabwe. Don't say that's where I live right now.
Really invested in certain channels and things, and you see it like one of the if different people fall out, and then I don't think a lot of people realize the crossover between different channels. Like you really you don't, because people like everybody, and you never know which viewers you share and not. It's just not a good idea.
Yeah. There's stuff you have to tiptoe around, like there's been some drama and like a lawsuit with like Eric July and the Rippaverse, and like there's like four.
I see the periphery of that, and it's one of those things. It's like you start trying to find out what's happened, and this just goes on and on and on, and the lore is so deep. I'm like, I'm staying out of that one.
Yeah, it was like there's like 4 of my people I consider friends involved, and like half of them believe the complete opposite from the other half. And I'm like, but I want to talk about it. And I'm like, I like talking about it though. And I'm like, but talking about it is going to get me hated by like both groups. It's weird. It's a weird situation.
I like Nick and I like Ripper. And so
yeah, exactly. Same. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, I'm also incredibly lazy. And so the moment I found out how much lore there was, I'm like, I don't care. It's what I decided with it. Does anyone who really likes? I don't think anyone likes being in drama. There's very few people that actually thrive off it.
There is.
I mean, they do exist.
There is.
I think most people are like, just rather an easy life.
Yeah, dude, I'm the same way. And I know people in real life that were like part of an entire friend group, and like one by one would like burn a bridge with somebody in the friend group until there was like no one left to burn a bridge with, because they just would talk. They would just talk
self-destructive.
Yeah, they would immediately get alone with somebody, and their first thing they wanted to do was talk shit about the person that was just there, and they just can't help it. And it's like a compulsion. It's almost like it's not their fault. They ruin every relationship in their entire life, like doing that shit. And I can't fathom it. And it coincidentally enough, the people that suffer from that end up being the people that say they hate drama. Like they're the people that will say all the time on social media, I just can't stand drama. I can't stand drama. I can't stand. And they're very, and it's like no one, keep in mind, no one provoked them to say it. Like if there is something happening where you're involved in something, you're like, man, I don't care for this drama. that's different. But if you just see a random status or a random tweet from a random person, they're just like, I just can't stand the drama, bro. It's like that's the person perpetuating the drama always.
The moment you said it, I was thinking about me because I've just said it. But there's some drama that I like. Like you had the Rachel Ziegler stuff, and it is like if there's a back and forth, or Director X. It's like if you start coming for me, well, I'm going to enjoy making the video back because there's a to and fro. So you could argue that that's drama. I think with me it's different between like if you're close friends, like there's a different connection there. Than it's you know, a random person in Hollywood coming for you kind of thing. I think that was one of the issues with Director X, actually, is that, because I do think he's being honest, but I think he thinks it's like, to him, it's an original experience. He's just made this show. He's come from directing music where he's had a very successful career and everyone liked his stuff. He's made a TV show and it's not been well received. And so he thinks that these people are racist. It's like, yeah, but we hear that all the time because that's the standard excuse. So to us, it's like, you're now the 120th person who's tried to use that excuse about their show, and he's just like, has no idea. So, I think there's he probably doesn't understand why he got such a harsh reaction back, because he's being genuine. It's like he doesn't realize that Hollywood's been spouting this stuff for years, and they haven't, and so people were fed up.
I wonder if every single director or writer that like, or actor or whatever, that gets involved in this and they use that excuse if they think it's the first time it's been used, like, because they've been doing it for years now.
It's interesting because you also wonder, especially when actors like Ewan McGregor, do you really think Ewan McGregor decided to make a car video one day about this? Because it's very strange how these actors come out and they're always doing it in their car. He's not the only one. There was the guy that did Shaun of the Dead, also came out with a car video. It's like, I'm a man of the people. And all the while he's recording on his camera over here, he keeps looking at his windscreen all the time. Every time he's talking. For the next few words, there's a script in his pissing windscreen, and everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it was his decision. He wouldn't need to read from a script. So, you always have to wonder whether it's a play, whether they believe what they're saying, or whether it's just PR marketing has told them to say it.
Yeah. It's definitely PR, because all the actors at the same time like come out and say the exact same shit. Just the same stuff, the same canned response, every one of them. We will not allow this kind of bigotry. And it's like, what? It's like that Reva girl, like she shared like 2 screenshots from random no profile picture Instagrams with 0 followers that were like just trolling her. And it's like, this is all Star Wars fans. It's like, why would you do that? That's like me going and finding a negative comment, which is very easy, by the way.
Yes.
And like screen capping it and then posting it and being like, this is all my comments right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like not. It's like 0.5% probably of my comments are negative. But some people
the difference is you can find the comments, but you can't get all of media to come on and report it and make it into a big, massive story. So everybody thinks that there's huge amounts of people and everyone's agreeing and everyone's on the same side.
Yeah.
There's more weight behind it when you've also got the media machine ready to make a story.
Yep.
Otherwise it's just you showing a comment. And everyone will just go, it's a YouTube comment, grow a thick skin. It's like, oh, strange how that applies, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for some reason that it's not there. Like, we are normal people, I guess I would say, are held to a higher standard than, like, for some reason actors and actresses aren't supposed to be able to handle criticism or don't deserve to have criticism. It's very weird.
Well, I mean, Galadriel from Rings of Power said she had to have therapy because men were charging at her. Like, I'm not even joking, like literally therapy. Because
charging at her? What do you mean?
She was in the fight scenes, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
Obviously,
cool.
they'd be charging her with swords and stuff, but she said that was scary, and she literally had to go to therapy to handle the anxiety of men running at her. I'm like, I wouldn't have admitted that if I were you. You know, maybe keep that one private.
Yeah,
but you can understand, like, that's how fragile these people are. Like, they have to have therapy for everything. And,
it's weird. It's sad.
I agree, right? If you get offended by YouTube comments, grow a thicker skin. Like, this is the internet. But I think that's because I've been on the internet for like 20 years. It was way worse back in the day.
Oh my god, dude. Okay, so
great. I'm gonna have to be right back, and then I'll be back in a minute.
Sure, yeah. I have a great thing to bring up when he gets back because I experienced this yesterday. Real quick, make sure you guys like the show, please. Make sure you like the show. Saturday, we have me and Zia and an unannounced guest for the Camel Thoughts episode 5, maybe. I think it's episode 5. Don't forget to watch that. We're halfway to Naked Snake today, but we are closing up on the end of this show. So we may lose at 229 in a row. 229 Naked Snakes in a row might be the downfall, which is kind of nice because I won't have to do a 24-hour stream because I was not looking forward to that shit. So thank you. I appreciate you. Extra Girl was a great guest. She's so great. And Saturday we'll have somebody else. And I'll announce it when it's official. But yeah, it's funny when people say thick skins, because I played Halo 2, right? I played Call of Duty. I played all this shit when I was like 16. And you know how it was when you would join a multiplayer lobby and it was like the end of the world, right? It was the end of the dude. If you could not handle a name call or something, you couldn't do Xbox Live. You heard every slur that existed within 10 seconds. And if you had like a black sounding voice, oh, it's 10 times worse, right? 10 times worse. That's just how it is. And it's just the best way to survive that is to understand what it is. It's just goofy, like stupid banter that people are just being like edgy, and you know, it's just goofy. So we were all there in the old Halo lobbies and Call of Duty lobbies. But one of my friends gifted me a copy of Party Animals, this freaking game that looked so silly that everybody was streaming for a second. Like a floppy freaking animal game. And I was like, fuck it, I'll play it. I was kind of drunk. And I was like, you know what? I'll play it because he's begging me to play it with him tonight. And this was last night. So I get on Party Animals. And dude, it's like an open voice chat, right? Holy shit. It is immediately just N-word, F-slur, N-word, like the whole time. But it was like comedic timing and comedic value. Like 95% of it was hilarious because it'd be like a black guy say, and it was funny. It was funny as hell. And that's kind of how I think it was back in the day. But imagine one of these like celebrities like joining an open lobby in like Party Animals and actually believing the stuff they say. They would have like a heart attack.
That was what was so funny about like Warzone. Warzone came out with death comms. And you would just kill someone, and just out of nowhere, you're like, "Way!" It was funny.
Yeah,
but I think that's where, because like, on about the drama thing, I'm like, okay, maybe do enjoy a bit. But I think it comes from because in the early internet, that's how it was. Like everybody's fighting with everybody all the time. I was one of the people that's like, I'm having a debate with you and I will win. And he's like, you're just debating with a 12-year-old on the other side of the internet. But you're like, I will not give in. I'm better. I know more. And I think I got most of that out of my system then. And now I'm just like, I'm too old. I'm too tired. I don't have the energy anymore. But there's still the odd time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this could be fun.
I was just not talking. I had my thing set on push to talk. And I was just listening to these people just racial slur and... like God, gay slur. It was not, to be honest, it was hilarious because it was such in a jokey way, and like there was like a black dude obviously a black dude like in the lobby like playing. He was like a tiger and he's like running and flopping, and like the guy's like just calls him like just says, "Come here, you," like N-word just immediately, and like the black dude's like laughing and he's like hitting back at him with another random slur. It was like the funniest shit. Like, I don't know. It was like, I guess you can't really do anything like in that situation. So, and I feel like everybody, like 99.8% of people don't really, they're just trying to have a good time. And the main reason why these slurs have become such a big issue, like in the like main public eye, is because everyone is so afraid to say them, but they don't actually care. Right.
Yeah. The landmines.
Yeah.
It's not an accident that the amount of landmines keep multiplying all the time, and they're constantly changing, so nobody's ever quite sure what they say, and we'll lay them all through the language, and then we'll lay so many that everyone will step on them, everybody, But then we'll only have a certain amount of people who decide when the landmine goes off. And if the landmine goes off, you lose everything.
Yeah.
But we only do it to the people that we don't like. And it's done deliberately. Nobody really cares, because why would it's vibrations through the air? It's not. Nobody's hurt. Nobody's permanently damaged, and it makes it funnier. That's the thing. The more you ban, the instant you ban something, it's funny because nobody's supposed to say it, so it's absurd.
Yeah.
That makes it funny because you're doing something you shouldn't.
Yeah, and that's why my dumbass. Look, I'm not going to engage. I know, like, I have a YouTube,
but if someone records you,
and my name on there is Camelot 321, like, dude, if I engage in this shit, it'd be over. So I didn't engage in it. The only thing I did was I was drunk, so I was like acting like Solid Snake or something. And like this guy was like, hey man, turn your voice changer off. And I'm like, that's not a voice changer, man. It's just my voice. Like, it was funny. Because like I can really change my voice like really well. And I can make my voice really, really deep. And this guy's like, dude, what do you sound like with that voice changer? And I'm like, dude, that's just me, man. I just sound like this. And it was hilarious. And yeah, it was great. But that was the same guy calling everybody the F slur. And he was like, hey, we were having a good time. But I ain't gonna say it because somebody clips that shit and it's over. Now, granted, I could just lean into it and be like, what? It was funny. And I'm gonna say it again. But
that's the thing. That's why it pays to not be holier than thou, because one of the things about cancellation tends to be, a part of it is you have to go along with it, so you have to apologize. But the other part is the audience that watches you needs to feel like you've like betrayed them in some way, like you're not who they expected. And so I always remember the Italian prime minister, he got elected. He immediately filled his cabinet full of page 3 models, like just instantly. And so the moment it came out that he'd actually been like having an affair and he was sleeping with a load of them, everyone was like, yeah, of course he was. What did you think was happening? Nobody cared because everyone voted him in knowing what he was like in the first place. But then you get the holier than thou, I only do this kind of people, and they do it once. It's like, I can't believe you did that. Like, you betrayed everything you stood for.
Yep.
You can't be there anymore. You've got to step down. And so I think that's an element for everybody.
Well, that's the Trump effect. That's like, so like, for example, it's like, did you know Trump's had sex with like tons of like models and hookers? And if you asked him that, he'd be like, yeah, and I'm going to do it again. And they're like, okay, cool. I'm going to vote for you now. Like that's how fast people change their mind. Like, oh, okay. Because their entire purpose is to shame you. And if you're not able to be shamed, like, it's over, you win. And they're like, oh, cool. I've actually had that happen. But I had a guy comment on some YouTube video. It's like a year and a half ago. And he was just being unhinged. And I just agreed with him. And he'll respond. I just agreed with him. And he responded. And he's like, you know what? I actually respect that. And I was like, words don't hurt me, man.
You can't argue against someone agreeing with you. It's impossible. Like,
Yeah,
what is the comeback?
I grew up in a trailer park. Like, no one can say a word and offend my ass. Like, it's over. You can say anything. I've been called everything. I was bullied my entire life. You can call me fat if you want. Ain't gonna bother me. You know, I've heard it all. And
why would anyone call you fat? You work out all the time. That'd be stupid.
well, I have a really fat head. Like, so people don't like notice that when they meet me in real life, because I have like a kind of a round like fat head. But when people meet me in real life, they're like, wow, you're way more in shape looking in real life. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you only see my head on camera.
Even on camera, you look like a brick shithouse, which
Thank
is a compliment over here,
you.
by the way.
I appreciate you.
You're built like, it's one of those things where like, I'm not sure. There's some things I say, I'm like, I'm not sure whether that's just British and no one will know what I mean.
I know what a shit brick house is. Yes, I appreciate that. No, yeah, we didn't even hit Naked Snake, and I still feel good about this show just because he gave me a compliment. Appreciate that. Miss Naked Snake, but I got called a shit brick house. Patrick,
no, it's a brick shit house. They're entirely different things.
What's a shit brick house?
No, because a shit brick house would be a terrible house, but if you're built like a brick shit house, it's like the outdoor toilets. It just means jacked. It's like you just look like a tough building.
Oh, so you're like a porta party, but you're like brick. You're built with bricks.
Yeah, it's just like you look jacked is essentially what it means over here.
Thank you.
There's lots of stuff like that. I'm like, I don't even know whether that phrase has gone to America.
Yeah, I have. I know I've heard it. I always say that about women that are built like unbelievably in my gym. But I'm pretty sure I say shit brick house.
Yeah, that's wrong. It's definitely brick shit house.
What
Because
did you say?
if you're a shit house, that's definitely an insult.
Oh, not a shit house. Oh my god. Well, dude, I know it's getting late. We didn't hit the fight milk, so you escaped it like last time. Last time you had to do it.
No.
This time you ain't got to do it.
Last time I did it, yeah.
Yeah, so you only had to do it once, which is good. Not many. Nick has to do it every show. When I have Nick Ricada on, that I don't
He's
know
had
why.
to do like quadruple and stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done. I think triple is the biggest he's did. But
I saw one clip where he's like struggling to choke it down. that looked rough.
dude, he's a trooper. He just does it. I don't know why. Like he can just do it. And now, granted, he struggles, but he just keeps trying. He just keeps trying. And of course, every time we do it, it's on a clip channel the next day. Just doing some fight milk, and it's like every comment's like, Nick's a degenerate. He's fallen so far. And I'm like, all he's doing is drinking some eggs, man.
Yeah, but if you called him a degenerate, he'd agree with you. So,
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, yeah. But
Nick's like one of the few people where I will just get random channels just recommended him like a 40-second clip or something. Like, where does that come from? It's like, no, watch this. I get that with no one else, but
yeah, I get it
he
with
gets
Nick.
clipped all over the place.
Yeah, that I wish I got clipped all over the place. It'd be great. I want to be a clip person.
Yeah, I mean it's great free marketing. But,
There's a thread on Google. It's like a random forum that I was like on a show with Zia, and I Googled my name, and it was like the 4th or 5th result was a random forum, and it was like since 2018 and just like 100 pages deep or something, and it was just men trying to find nudes of me. Like, I'm not even joking.
I'd say I was surprised, but I'm not.
Every single post was like every time I would post a picture, like within 1 minute it was posted on the forum.
Hey, there's probably one of them in the chat now.
Yeah, they're
like,
waiting.
oh yeah, I know that thread.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn. Like, and I almost feel bad because there's not any. I'm like, man, I kind of feel like I should like throw
What
him
you
a
need
bone.
to do is like set up a treasure map and like encode it across the internet and like lead them across the game to find the news.
Yeah. Oh, that. Okay, so I was talking to Dick Masterson about this. I was like, okay, I have a video I shot with a girl with her consent, obviously, and I was like, I could post it and then make it completely random where no one could ever find it, but then like put breadcrumbs to it. And then, of course, when they find it, it's just, oh, look, Camelot smashing a chick. It'd be hilarious.
But then if you could like anonymize it enough to where no one would ever be quite sure.
Yeah.
Like they think they found it, but they're not. We can't confirm it.
I need to go back and look and see if my tattoo's in it.
Yeah. Or they're trying to work out there's a mole here, and they're like, can you just show us your left thigh?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they do, man. They like look for moles and shit to find out who's in frame.
Oh, I tell you what, the internet. One of my favorite comments is Gaben from Gabe. Everyone calls him Gaben off Steam, and he says one of the problems we first had was we thought we were cleverer than the internet, but no one is cleverer than the internet. They'll remember everything you've ever said, deconstruct all your spin, and you will never get away with anything. Do not lie to the internet. And so many people fall foul of that.
Yeah, it's like it reminds me of when very recently was Sniper Wolf in that where she posted that picture of that dude's house, that Jax Films guy's like house.
Yeah.
Like a picture of it. And she's like, I just posted a picture. I didn't post the address. And I'm like, bro, that's not how the internet works. At least 20 people found that address within like 30 seconds of that fucking picture.
Do you know the 4chan story of, I think it was in Afghanistan?
No.
They posted like a training camp photo, and it went on 4chan, and it was like in the middle of a desert. It's a few tents, but they worked out like the angle of the sun, the direction of the shadows, and there were some power lines, and they started comparing the power lines to types of power lines around the country, and they narrowed it down, and they found the place. And they sent it off to like the CIA or whatever. It got bombed. Like it literally, it was a stupid. There was another guy. He posted like a picture from his front room, and someone worked out from like the curtain, it opened a tiny little crack where he was. There are some people on the internet that that just amaze me. If only they use their skills for good. But you get enough people in a room together. What was it someone said? That in a chat, there's probably an expert on everything. You just get a few hundred people, and you can ask a question about anything, like farming. Oh yeah, I know that. You do to do this.
Yeah, I was talking about this the other day with somebody that doesn't really do, content creation or anything. And I was like, the chat is a collective like genius, because I can ask the chat of a random actress in a random movie and just describe like what I remember from like 30 years ago when I was 4, what the movie was, and like 3 people in chat will post it within like 10 seconds. Galaxy of Terror. There's a movie called Galaxy of Terror, and I had no idea what the name was for years, and I explained it on a chat because I was like, or on a stream, I was like, yeah, there's this movie, and it's like a space movie, and it's like really dark, and they're just in like this space like alien place, and a big worm, like giant ass worm, rolls over a chick, and like her clothes fall off, and she's just naked, and the worm's just on her, like flopping his like worm pieces on her. And I was like, I have no idea that's the only thing I remember from that movie. And like immediately 10 people were like, Galaxy of Terror, and I'm like, fuck, I had to go watch it.
Literally, I was talking about the Korean thing. It was like, oh yeah, there's a woman, she joins a gang and she starts fighting people. And I said one scene where it's like, okay, you're gonna have to hit their weak spots. And someone just went, my name. And I was like, oh, okay, cheers, that was it.
Yeah. That's how it works, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. I know it's like 3 a.m. for you or something crazy. Or 2 a.m.
10 to 4, yeah.
10 to 4? Jesus.
Yeah.
God, we went to 11 my time last time. Jesus. It's brutal. It's brutal as hell. But yeah, I'll let you log off here.
It's a cost of doing business in the UK. Like,
yeah.
Everyone else is American. Like, that's the way it works.
Yeah, usually it's like, hey, they're like, I want you to come on my show. And I'm like, fuck, where are you, in California? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, fuck. That means I have to get on at like 6 p.m. I was like, I don't want to do that shit. Or 3 p.m.
2 years in, I still don't know all your time zones. I know it's either 5 or 6 hours, but I still have to Google it every time.
Yeah, that's how it is when like Critical Drinker tells me, like, he's like, yeah, here's my time zone, and I'm like, fuck, I can Google all this to figure out what time me and Critical Drinker can do a show.
The worst is when people try and remember your time and they try and translate it for you. Like, no, tell me your, because at least I'll know that's correct. Whereas if you give me a time of mine, it could be anything. So
that's what I do. I just send the time and the time zone. It's like 7 Central Standard Time. Because if you Google it, you'll know exactly what it is. So
well, yeah, because we have like GMT and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So hours change.
Yeah. Rock on, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna say goodbye to the chat and announce some stuff, and then I'll be in touch, and I'll be watching you on Saucy. Are you doing Saucy Saturdays every Saturday with Wicked Virtue?
I said I'd do them if I was awake. So
okay, cool.
Yes, I'll be there a lot of the time.
Rock on. Well, that helps her a lot, because I remember when she was just a little baby, and I just randomly got recommended her channel, and she was streaming, and there was like 20 or 30 people watching, and it was really engaging. Like, she was really, like, she was talking to chat, having a good time. They were having a good conversation, her and one of her friends, and I was like, this is a great channel. So I just started rating it every single day.
And I used to know her from Twitch, where she just used the gaming streams. So
yeah, and I was just like rated her like for 2 weeks, and then she had 1,000 subs, and then it's just she just took off. It's great to see.
Yeah, even now she's like, yeah, Cody got me this.
Yeah,
so she appreciates it.
Yeah, Brick Shit House. Come on, got you.
Yeah, not Shitbricker.
You owe me, Wicked. You owe me. All right. All right, dude.
But yeah, dude, always fun.
Yeah.
I'll see you around.
All right, I'll see you later. Appreciate you, bud.
Anytime.
Make sure you guys sub to Disparu's channel. His link is in the chat right now. Go give him some love. Watch his videos are 9.5 out of 10. Like, entertainment. They're fantastic. If I watch a channel, it's a big deal. Like, it's a big deal if I watch a channel. And there's like 5 I watch that are people I know. You know, I watch Nick's streams. I watch Gary, his channel. I watch a few of the Geeks and Gamers guys. I watch Disparu, and a few of my friends that stream, like Wicked, and anybody else like that I know. And it's a big deal if I watch your channel. And Disparu, I watch almost every single video he puts out. So he's a great channel. Great dude. We have a little bit of time left. I appreciate you guys so much. I have a new video coming out soon. It might come out before Saturday. It might not. It might be Sunday. to try to spread it out because I'll be gone next week. I'll be in Orlando next week hanging out with Wicked Virtue. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're in the area, maybe reach out. And maybe we can go do something, meet up somewhere, maybe drink. It'd be a lot of fun. Everybody on Rumble, I love you guys. Make sure you guys like the stream on Rumble. And make sure you like the stream over here because we're 19 likes away from the goal. Didn't quite make it to Naked Snake. We were 240 away after old Patrick Todd, leaving the goal at 228 Naked Snakes in a row. I think that's like almost 2 years. I think it might be almost 2 years straight. So the previous record for Naked Snakes was 6. And now the new record is 226 or 228. What does that even mean? What does that even mean, Richard? What does this mean, Richard? So that being said, at least no 24-hour stream, so I don't have to die, because those things are really brutal. I know, I don't know if any of you have ever done a 24-hour stream, and I mean a real one, like where you stream for 24 hours. I know some people that have done a 24-hour stream and they stream for 11 hours, then go to sleep, and then wake back up and stream for another 11. Yeah, no, I mean, sitting in your chair for 24 hours. I got up and did jumping jacks on my 24-hour stream. I did jumping jacks, ate a protein bar, and drank like a Gatorade or something, and then sat back down and kept streaming. It was brutal. So I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it ever again. So at least we're avoiding that. All the people in locals, I appreciate you guys coming through. Love you. Appreciate you. 24 hours fully awake stream sounds truly rough. It's terrible. Terrible. And I didn't wake up and stream. I went to the gym and shit. I was up for like 34 hours or something. I had like the full day before, had the full day before that stream to do that 24-hour stream. And it was awful. Oh, by the way, something I did today that's completely not entertaining, but I like to talk about it because it was entertaining to me. I changed the oil on a supercar for the first time in my life today. I did it in my garage, and it is such a different experience than doing it on a normal car because it's so convoluted and so ass backwards. There is like, dude, there's 4 drain plugs on this bitch. There's 3 on the engine itself. There's 1 on an oil reservoir, which is the biggest one because it drops like 5 freaking liters. And I had to take the entire underpinning of the car off. Because if you've ever seen the bottom of a supercar, it's just like straight, like a plastic straight thing that's aerodynamics, and it goes into a rear diffuser. You can't see anything. You can just see like the bottom of the engine square, and then there's like a tiny little port for something else. And dude, my God. And then it took 12 quarts of oil. So it was brutal, man. It's brutal. And there's like a drain plug that's up against a frame, a piece of the frame. And dude, I had to order a special tool just to do it. The oil filter is like, the filter is outside. It's like an actual filter. And you have to put it in the engine's like metal coupler. It's so weird. But it's done. And I'm not spending $800 to get it done because it costs $800 to get it done. And I was like, fuck, I'll do it myself. And it took about 2 hours. But Toby, shut your mouth. I want to order your special tool. What? Can we just give a big shout out to Sonia last set? The original Orange Queen for years. She's been with me for a long time. She texts me almost every day to just see how I'm doing. She truly cares, and I truly care about her. She supported me for years, and she's dropping a damn red boy trying to keep this goofy naked snake alive. I love you, Sonia. I appreciate you, Sonia. What a beautiful woman. Look at that shit. Damn. Damn. A damn red boy. Wow. We love you, Sonia. You're amazing. That's an official rainbow knot, at least. So I appreciate you, Sonia. That puts us 140 from Naked Snake. Thank you, Sonia. Sonia's working overtime. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for all your support, and you're beautiful. And also, she's beautiful. Look at her face. Hold on, let me scroll back up. Look at her face. Beautiful. Also, Steph, beautiful. I just saw her face. Steph, did you text me last night? Was that you? Did you text me? Somebody texted me last night and was talking about like fucking metalcore, like at 5 a.m. And I think it was you. I don't know why. I think it was you. It was something like that. It might have been somebody else. It was Steph. Okay, yeah. What were you doing at 5 a.m., by the way? What were you doing? I was just laying in bed, like texting her. We were talking about like Phil Labonte and shit. Like getting like maybe Zach Wild. I can't remember, man. I was drunk. I was drunk as hell, by the way, last night. Speaking of being drunk as hell, Renee Galarza with a man. This is wild. A $199 super chat. Damn. I truly thought it was over, boys. I truly thought it was time to pack up the damn naked snake, and you just couldn't let it die, could you? You just couldn't let it die, could you? You just can't let me escape this 24-hour stream, can you? You're pissing off the trolls in the chat, man, by dropping these giant ones on me, Renee and Sonia. Renee Galarza, $199 super chat. My God. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Renee. I love you, Sonia. I love you, Jadine. I love you, Rakeda Law. Don't forget my boy was in here earlier going ham as hell. No, Colonel. Naked Snake never dies. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I don't deserve this shit. To be fair, the fact that this streak has lasted this long, I don't deserve that. I'm still blown away every day that it happens. And sometimes I'm self-conscious and feel like my content's not good enough to warrant this. But I do try, and I'm really thankful. I love you. Thank you. And then Richard, you bitch. Orange for Sonia in my favorite prezzo. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you, Richard. Thank you. You can almost afford a oil change. No, Benny. No, I will do it myself. I would never pay $800 for an oil change. The only time I will ever pay $800 for an oil change is right before I sell the supercar. The reason you would do that is so the Carfax has maintenance on it. Unfortunately, your Carfax won't report your maintenance that you do. It has to be done by like an actual technician, like a qualified technician. If you have a Lamborghini, like a dealership that has a qualified Lamborghini tech would have to do it. An R8, same thing. Ferrari, same thing. You're going to want it on the Carfax. Richard, love you. I appreciate you. Renee, I love you. I appreciate you. Sonia, thank you so much. Thank you. We got 420. Nice. From Pot Milk in one hit. Look at that. Let's do Naked Snake, boys. Where's my thing? Where's my damn bandana? I got real drunk. Is that it? Oh, look. Nope. There it is. Sorry, I was drinking last night. The whiskey took hold, boys. The whiskey took hold. Thank you, Samantha. I appreciate you. I hope. Let me see if I still have that. Samantha's GoFundMe's in the chat, by the way. I'm sharing it again just to make sure I got my bases covered. Give her some love, boys. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you. Thank you. I Like Cheese says European cars suck ass. Maybe. It's the reason my R8 is tough for that oil change. It's a dry sump. So like there's like no oil pan. There's like an oil reservoir. It's a convoluted system. And it's a very fast car. It's a monster. It's a beautiful car. All right. Legal Mindset took so many shots of whiskey in the morning. He is sick now. Oh no, is he live? I want to see him sick. Hold on. Where is he? Is he live? He's not even live. Lofty's live for some reason. Dan, there's like 30 people live right now. Jessica Reload is live. Good Logic's live. Zombies is live. I don't see him. Geeks and Gamers. They're playing Titanfall 2. Cool. All right, let's do naked snake, boys. Stop fucking all right. Sorry guys, I saw something funny. Boys, it's 229 naked snakes in a row, 21 from naked 24-hour stream. Damn. Thank you guys so much. We almost didn't make it, and somehow, some way, naked snake lives on. Raking Knight on Rumble with the first and only Rumble rant of the night says, naked snake lives on. Thank you so much, Raken. Love you. And I appreciate you. Raken says I'm going live in 30 minutes on Rumble. I don't think I can raid Rumble. Can you raid on Rumble? Because I'll raid you. That'd be funny. Raid Lofty, so he'll be like, what the fuck? You sent me here? And I'm not going to raid Lofty because people will just leave. It's Lofty, man. People will leave if I raid Lofty. I know who we're going to raid, though. All right, boys. Let's do Naked Snake. I keep fucking forgetting. I'm going to click a link in chat to raid on Rumble. You could, yes, you could. He's Lofty a VTuber. He's a bitch tuber, is what he is. I think we're gonna raid Steve. I don't think I've ever raided Steve before. Here we go. It's time for Naked Snake for 229 streams in a row. We barely scraped it by. We got 399 from Fight Milk, and then we were barely that from Naked Snake like 20 minutes ago. Let's do this. You guys ready? I shaved my chest today for you. For you. I shave for you. Gotcha, son. Already joining the party. Thank you. Oh my God. Gotcha, son. Here we go. Monkey Man.
With darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill. I'm searching and I'm melting to you. What a fear in my heart.
Here we go, boys.
But you're so supreme.
Ooh, in my time, there been nobody else. Holy Ozo. And cry, it's the way I fly to you. Ooh. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. Here we go.
Someday you'll go red. Someday you feel on a tree frog. It's a trial to survive.
229 in a row. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there been nobody else. Oh, cry. It's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. Ashley with a big 5, son. Here we go. Oh my god. Oh my god. Colonel, naked snakes here. Where should I put my penis? 229 naked snakes in a row. I'm very surprised we got that one. We clawed it away from the trolls. And we survived one more time. I'm just waiting for that clip, the clip on the clip channels for when the streak falls and they make fun of me. He couldn't do it forever. Well, yeah, you can't do it forever. Thank you, Ashley. $31 on locals. I love you. Raking Night over on Rumble to Dancing Dan Banana. I appreciate you. And we got to give a big shout out to Sonia Lassette. Thank you for your constant support over the years. And Rene Galarza. Huge drop. Thank you so much. And don't forget, Nick Ricada. I appreciate you. Support my brother. And Jadine. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much for all your love today. Without you, I am nothing. Make sure you go watch my video from yesterday. Please. Go watch my video from 2 days ago or the other day. Because it's doing pretty well. And I want it to do more well. Hold on, I'll bring it up. I'm gonna bring it up, boys, and I'm gonna let you click on it, or I'll put the link in the chat for you. Go give it a like, go comment on it, go give it some love. Don't forget to check out Samantha's GoFundMe, please. Somebody post a link for it because I have that's like 3 freaking Control V's back now. There's the video. Give it some love. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you guys so much. We'll be live Saturday with Zia. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Saturday with Zia and the Camel Thoughts. We'll have a guest on. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to get drunk and talk about the craziest shit possible like we always done. There's GoFundMe for Samantha. Drop $1 for her in there. Thank you so much. You guys are goated. I'll see you guys Saturday and then Monday. And that's it. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys over on Steve's stream. Make sure you join this raid, by the way. I don't think I've ever raided this guy. And I need you to join the raid. Need to join the raid. Nope. He's ending his stream. Never mind. I'm so glad I updated that. That would have been bad. That would have been terrible. No. I almost ruined everything. Okay, never mind. Scratch it. Scratch Steve. Damn you, Steve. All right, hold on. Oh, I didn't even set a raid target. That's funny. Never mind. Let's do. I'm gonna do Zombies Go Numb, maybe. Hold on, because I saw him at the mall the other day, and I was like, bro, where is it? Zombie Go. Zombies. Here it is. Oh my god, I can actually raid him. Cool. All right, we're gonna raid. We're gonna raid Zombies Go Numb. He's the man. I saw him in the mall. Like I saw him in real life, and I was like, what the fuck? Boycott Cody, bro. I raided Queso like 2 days ago, or 3 days, or a week ago. You bitch. All right, we're gonna raid just do Ricada. No, he's gay. We're gonna do Zombies Go Numb. I'll see you guys over there. Make sure you join the raid and give him some love. He was talking about in the mall how he's changed to horror streams and he's losing viewers because he's not playing his normal games. And I'm like, fuck it, dude. We're going to rate him. Give him some love. I'll see you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks again to get us to Naked Snake. We are 21. We are 21 snakes away from the big snake. Get on it, doggone it. Love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate you guys. Let's do this.